Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 173 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, as always, I am joined by the ghoul, Lord Cognito. How are you, sir?
Doing good. I'm doing good, man. I'm still in that Fallout bag.
Yes.
We would talk about that, but I am doing good, man. Busy as hell, but good. And I'm planning out a lot of stuff for the summer, so I'm excited about that. A lot of things going on, a lot of events that I'm really excited, and games that I'm really excited to talk about. But yeah, how you been, man? What's been going on with you?
Good. You brought up summer plans. I wanted to go to UFC 302, the one where Poirier is fighting at the top of the card. Bro, Dana White, bring your prices down. I can't afford $600 seats in the nosebleeds. Come on now. I was so excited. It was just nearby in Newark. I was like, oh, I gotta go. Like that's my favorite fighter.
It's the Prudential? It was at the Prudential?
Yeah, it's Prudential. I was like, that's perfect. It's like right nearby. Yeah, man. I was so excited, but I saw those prices.
Bro, there's a part of me that misses when they were like the upstart and they weren't like regulated in New York and New Jersey and stuff like that.
I saw that and I thought, well, how much was UFC 300? That could be so much money.
Yeah, it's insane, bro. I remember the last time I went to a UFC fight, prices were much different.
Oh, you've been. I'm jealous.
But this was way back. Like I told you, I got that's crazy. I got a lot of weird stories. I met Dana White. I told you I met Dana White.
You met Dana White?
Bro, bro, of all places, a GameStop.
Yo, that's so funny because I saw on his Instagram, he posted a video of him saying like, y'all know I don't like video games. I don't like TV. He's like, I watched none of it, but I actually have a show to recommend. I was like, this guy doesn't watch or play anything.
Yeah, this was one of the
GameStop.
Yeah, this is one of the early UFCs. I'm going to say undisputed. I think I even mentioned this before on either ILP or Defining Duke. And get this, the game that it came out, I think it was like UFC Undisputed, whatever it was. I think it had Anderson Silva on the cover. And someone heard me talk about this story. The developer who helped work on that game listens to both either ILP or DD. He DM'd me, tagged me on Twitter. It was like, I worked on that game. Because I had to cover, people didn't believe it. God, you ain't meet no UFC, no Dana White, no. Stop cap. I was like, bro, you know I don't be lying. That? Yeah, some people thought I was lying. So I said, all right, cool. And I dug in the crates. Found the pic. I had a whole New York Mets outfit on. I was fresh. This is like, I had to be around 2019. It was right around the time Citi Field just opened.
Wow. Okay.
And I remember I got the I had to get the fit because they had the little patch on the side to let you know it was the inaugural Citi Field opening on the Mets hat. So I got that joint and he was there. It was the debut. It was like a release at 34th Street. I didn't know he was going to be there. I was just going there to pre-order because I was like, UFC game, I'm in.
Yeah.
And he's in there. And I'm like, yo, Dana, what's up? We kicking it. I'm like, bro, when you bring MMA to the UFC to New York, what's up, man? Like, this is terrible. We got massive.
Dude, I love Cog's energy. This guy presses anyone.
Press Phil Spencer. When we get into simulation baseball, bro, because you got to shoot your shot. And I'm like, yo, bro.
I love it.
Love you to death, but this is embarrassing that it's not in this town. He said, no, we're going to work at it. And to his credit, he got it done. So at the time, I was like, bro, would you mind, taking a picture? He was like, absolutely. We took the picture, whatever. So I got it up. Yeah, Dana's the man.
I love him. Yeah, that is so funny. That's crazy. Yeah. So next time you see him, you bump into him at another GameStop. Let him know this pickup prices need to come down. Dude, to watch UFC, I didn't have an ESPN Plus subscription. So I had to spend like $120 on that because God forbid I buy just like a month of it. They got to buy the annual subscription. Then I got to buy the card afterwards. Like, dude. They're killing me out here. They're lucky I love UFC. They're lucky.
Yeah, bro. That last joint was fire. Did you see the Gagey Max Holloway joint?
Dude. Whoa. That was Laylee's first UFC card.
Oh, she got a banger. Oh, she's addicted now.
Yeah, it's so funny. She was just like, all right, I think I might go to bed. I'm like, no, Gaethje Holloway's up. You got to watch this. And even she popped for it, which I was like, damn, they had a fire fight when you got that kind of reaction from her. That was
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a
King
card.
gets mad at me. He's a boxer, but I'm UFC. Like, it's when a UFC fight is right, it's just it's nothing like it. And what's funny, you said that with Lily, as far as her first, I was in GCX Orlando, Florida. Shout out to my man Rick Cackus. He's a big Destiny YouTube content creator, right? So he's like, Cog, I know you're a UFC guy. We're gonna go to like a Buffalo Wild Wings. We're gonna watch the fight. It's all these screens. All right, cool. I'm gonna go. That fight was Masvidal and what's your man, the wrestler? What's
Ben
his
Askren?
name?
The knee in the head?
No, my bad. I'm taking it back. No. Excuse me. No. Was it that fight? It was somebody got knocked out. Yeah, it was. I think it was.
With the running knee?
The running knee. We
I was
hey,
Askren.
yo.
Yeah, like first second of the fight, kneed him in the face, and that was it.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy. It's one of them joints, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a super ridiculous fat, and that was my man's first UFC. And he was just like, hey, yo.
Yeah, that'll pull you in. That'll pull you in.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's funny because we were talking about things we were doing recently. Because you've been busy, I had to go to the DMV. I wanted to tell this story because I thought it would be
DMV stories.
I haven't been to the DMV since I got my license when I was like 17. I think I was.
Making you go? They accept you to join the registration and re-registration online now.
Well, no, because I like moved and since I'm doing like a transfer in states and everything. Yeah.
The state, yeah.
Dude, number one, holy shit, they have not streamlined this at all. I needed like 18 things to bring with me. So I'm like kind of in that low key, you know what? But you and I all know this type of pain, this type of panic when you're about to go to a big doctor's appointment. You're like, do I got everything? Like, you know, what's the verdict? What's going to be the end result of all this, right? And then you just take that big breath and you step into the office, right? So that's what was basically me going to the DMV was. I was like, I'm driving an hour to this place. Like, I don't want to forget anything. I check everything, and I get there. It's so funny how well the DMV has lived up to its reputation all these years later. All I hear is like, it's hell on earth. It's miserable. I forgot what it even looked like on the inside. I was like, oh, it makes sense. This place sucks. It reminds me of an airport. I was like, airports are awful. Yes. So I step inside there and I get called up to this lady, dude, night and day between her talking to the coworker and me. She's like, yeah, I can't wait for our lunch break. You need 2 pieces of residency, proof of residency. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it here. That's junk mail. I'm like, fucking relax. Come on now.
Yeah, their energy is terrible.
It's insane. So I get through that whole process. They're like, all right, go wait over there. We'll do your title transfer. Bro, I get up there after like my wait for the first appointment was pretty quick. I was like, oh, great, I'm going to be out of here, get home, finish everything I have to do. Dude, I'm waiting online or really in a seat. I'm waiting there for like an hour. They called me up. You know, I give them everything. Really nice guy. Like the second round of people were really good.
All right.
But, you know, I go through, give him everything. He's like, where's your admissions test? I'm like, oh, right. It's in my car. So I run outside. I go in my car. Can't find it. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, this is a nightmare. I was like, I've waited an hour and now I can't find it. I'm about to drive home another hour. I'm like, no. So I can't find it. So I go inside. I'm like, I don't know where it is. I know I had it with me. I'd say he's like, no problem. Reschedule online. In my head, I'm like, yeah, dude, let me reschedule. I'll see you in a month. Yeah. So I go back to the car. I rage text later. I'm like, I'm so fucking tight right now. Like I just drove an hour. I don't know where the hell my admissions test went. So I'm driving, you know, I've turned on my audiobook. I'm like, time to decompress. She calls me like 2 minutes later. She's like, check the trunk. I'm like, the trunk? And I go back there because we traveled with something. We moved all the papers from the front to the back for something.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh no. And so there it is. There's my admissions test.
So now you circle back.
So I circle back. I'm like, I'm gonna be a Karen. Like, I'm gonna go press my face. Like, yeah. So I show up. I'm like to the guy, I'm like, yo, I said, I drove an hour here. I said, I just found it. It was in a different room. He's like, sorry, but like, since you took the papers, you left the building and came back, like, we can't see you. I'm like, who makes up that rule, man? So I got to reschedule.
Wow.
It's like unbelievable. I was so annoyed because I was like, it was right there. Like, I checked every part of my car except the trunk because I was like, what the fuck would be in the trunk?
So they got a rule that if you leave the building, that's
with the papers and like, that's it. It's all.
Did you leave initially to go look for it?
Yeah. And that's why I was confused. I was like, dude, I just left to go get the papers.
Saw you.
Yeah. And he was handling someone else. I said, can someone else handle me? He's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm like, I said, you want my ass out of here. Like, I guarantee you want my. But at the end of the day, I made the mistake. So I wasn't going to pop off or anything, but I was so annoyed. I was like, great, I got to come back here again.
But they broke their own quote unquote protocol.
Yeah, that's
because
what I'm
he
saying.
let you leave to go look to come back, and now you come back again, and he's like, "Nah, you can't leave the building." What?
Yeah, it was. I knew it was like I was destined to fuck something up.
I feel you, bro. That sucks.
It's all
yeah,
good.
I've learned my lesson with them. Usually, that is ROG ally time. When you waiting for that number and that counter in the corner, and
that's the thing is I scheduled so far in advance. I was sitting there just like on my phone. Damn, I made a mistake. I should have brought something with me.
Yeah. I learned my lesson with them. Oh, they're the worst.
Next time I won't do that. All right, we got to write in here, Cog. People can write in over at patreon.com/laststandmedia, be part of our show. I need a poo, Mr. Magoo wrote in. Hey, Nukem Dukes. I started listening to your show even though I don't play Xbox or PC as I find the takes to be refreshing and similar to my own way of thinking. One thing that has me confused sometimes is some of the slang. I don't know if it's the region or age related, but I'm almost 37 until listening to you both. I've never heard of out of pocket and outside in the way you both use them. Can I get a quick explanation of these? Thanks. We get these from time to time, and I think it's so funny because I'm like, do people like hear us and just want to listen to the show because it sounds like we're speaking like some type of code throughout the? Oh, I want to be in on that backdoor joke there. So, Cog, shall we give them the Urban Dictionary on out of pocket and outside? You use outside, right?
I use outside a lot.
That's all you. So, would you like to break down what it means to be outside?
Outside is like a flex. Outside is, I'm here, I'm fearless, I'm showing you what I got in the sense of like. It's a prideful thing. So like if I say, hey, yo, I'm outside, you know what I'm saying? It's one, it's not just about, I'm physically outside or the game. Basically, it's a celebration. Let's just say I say, you know what? We're going to talk about ATLUS and Metaphor Fantazio, right? Yo, they outside. Like they just dropped an amazing trailer. They got the community hype. The chest is out. They're putting their wares for everyone to see it. It's a fearless, it's a confidence. It's a swag. So outside is more of a swag. And that, hey, man, we want to let everyone know that we have arrived. We want you to come check us out, and we have no qualms and no fear about the situation. And that's outside. A lot of the young kids use it to say, like, I'm outside because they physically outside in someone else's neighborhood. We not trying to promote violence and craziness, but we utilize outside in gaming. Like, yo, the studio is outside. Like right now, who's outside? Fallout TV series. Is outside. Their Amazon Prime is outside. They know they got one, and you see the engagement with that. So that's more of an outside. It's a confidence thing.
Absolutely. As for out of pocket, I think of it like you're in the football pocket, right? Like you're in the pocket, nice and protected. When you step out, you're getting a little risky. That's a little dangerous, right? Because now you're scrambling, you're running from the defense. So when you get out of pocket, like that means you're doing something a little inappropriate. You're doing something a little wild. Like you're doing a little crazy here.
I like your breakdown. That was
that's how I define it, right? That's when we say sometimes you got to get back in the pocket.
You
that's
like,
you got to start like acting right. Stop scrambling. You're not a running QB out there. So
you doing stuff you probably shouldn't be doing. That's a good one. I like your analogy.
So hopefully, Mr. Magoo, we've helped you out here. Obviously, if anyone needs a breakdown any of the other Duke terminology we use, the comment section is there to break it down. I'm sure many of people have been grandfathered into our terminology at this point. Always feel free to write in. We like to have these talks.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad you actually told me. I remember when we started, one of the you did the fight. You was like, yo, I was like, maybe I should calm down with the slang. You were like, no, Carl, keep doing. He's like, don't change. That's you. And I'm like, all right, cool. Because I wanted too slangy and too New Yorker. But some of them are funny to have application to video game stuff that I think is kind of hilarious.
Well, like where else do you get two New Yorkers chatting about games, especially in the Xbox realm? I think we got something unique. There's no shot I wanted you to change.
Exactly.
You're perfect as you are, sir.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Let's talk video games, shall we? As always, we're going to open up with Fallout for as long as I can make it happen. So here we go. Fallout is officially getting a second season. That has been confirmed in the last week. We don't have a release date or release window, just that season 2 is on the way. It's kind of got the green light behind the scenes. If you paid attention to like the California tax credits, Variety reported that they're going to begin filming a second season later this year. So we knew something was coming in on the way, especially with the success of the show. You had to imagine and the way it ends, like cliffhanger. So there's a lot of stuff that they can build off of. That second season was pretty much a given, but it's official now, Cog. So what are our thoughts?
Man, I'm so hyped, man. Because of this TV show, I have been just in a Fallout utopia right now. Like I gotta, like I said, I gotta bend the knee to you because it's like Man, the power of that series. We did Defining Dukes, and I'm like, bro, I'm an Elder Scrolls guy. Like, I don't care what you. But I have to admit, when Fallout is good, like you see what it does. I don't see this type of effect. But yeah, we're super happy that it's getting a second season. You know, pretty much a no-brainer. The thing that I got a question for you is the rumors based on how Amazon tends to operate is usually the first season they let you binge, and then the second they put out, it will be kind of week to week. Would you be opposed to that?
Yeah, like, look, as a content creator, I think it's totally understandable why some people are going like, oh man, you know, that's exciting that we get to go week to week breakdowns. I think there are some moments in the TV show I would have loved to have that build up with the community, but the reality is, as a consumer, you want the whole thing at once. I don't think the Fallout TV show may have been received as well if it didn't have all of it at once. You got to get that complete story way quicker. Imagine some of the speculation, for example. Imagine some of that speculation for certain things that happen in the show. I won't specify what, but I'll just say episode 7 with a week. Like that could be destructive as well. So I worry a little bit about how that'll go, but I mean, it's to be expected, especially when they got something big there now.
Yeah.
It was surprising Amazon even let it go all at once in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they did that with The Boys season 1. I think they may do it in like bursts. For example, I know The Boys is launching a new season in June, and they're doing the first 3 episodes at once.
Oh, they are. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for that.
I feel like they could do something along those lines. If you mentioned it, it was a perfect example. Fallout season 1, episode 1 and 2 kind of feel combined, where launching them at once, I think was a good idea, because those felt like a collective story that then you would kind of cap off there. It was also used to kind of be the preview window for the press and the media and so on. So I feel like they could also do that if they want to like set things right, set the tone right. They don't have to do just episode 1 and cut off. They might do 2 episodes, 3 episodes. Maybe Todd Howard works his magic. Todd doesn't like to wait. So maybe he pushes some buttons and with his team and figures out how to get the show out in one burst. I don't know if Amazon would really budge on that. I mean, this is the biggest show right now. This is the biggest thing in gaming right now.
Bro,
it is taken over completely.
Yes.
The fact that I have been talking about Fallout on my Mr. Manny channel like it's 2015 again, like every day for weeks now, it's fucking crazy. So it's back in a big way, and I don't imagine anyone who's got their hand in that cookie jar wants to let it go nicely. So I think they spread it out. As a content creator, it's going to be cool to kind of have that interaction with the community. But as fans, I wish they did it at once.
Yeah, we had a great show. I want to shout out Dustin for the invite. You know, me, Chris Raygun, and Locke, and we were talking about it. You would definitely miss. I know you couldn't make it for the Fallout spoiler show, but yeah, you know, Chris brought a good point, like, which is kind of like you know, in this era of like, it almost feels like the first season getting to binge everything was almost like the pilot. So now we know what the universe is. And then obviously without spoilers, we're getting ready to the next one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do what you say as far as like how the boys did it, but maybe instead of just doing 1 episode week to week, they gave us about 2 or 3. Because I do agree with you. If it didn't come out in the form it came out when we got the whole thing, I don't think it would have been appreciated in it. And there's a fun debate in the community between my boys. Shout out to Red Outdoor and Paris. They actually, because they're like binge versus week to week. You know what I'm saying? Because Paris is like, I want, you know, the water cooler moment week to week. But then Red is like, nah, bro, like, give us the whole thing. Yeah. Let us consume how we want. You know what I'm saying, Caddy? So I think I do lean towards binge, you know what I'm saying, as far as being able to have the ball at once. But it'll be interesting to see if they do week to week or the 3-piece, so to speak.
Absolutely, dude. I am curious to see what they do. I think they will lean into just stretching it out at least for a couple of weeks. You know, if you're trying to grow a subscription service, and I mean, Amazon's got some gold right now, man, between The Boys, Invincible, Fallout, who knows what else. Like, they got some good stuff here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make this one last. We'll see. But
yes, sir.
That's where I'm putting my money. Next up here, Fallout games. They're thriving. 76 has seen over 1 million players in a single day, and 5 million, almost 5 million, sorry, across all Fallout games. Austin has the write-in. We recently got word that Fallout 76 has surpassed 1 million players in a single day, and that the overall franchise had been played by more than 5 million players in a single day. Do you think with 76's recent player bump that Bethesda/Xbox will fast-track even bigger content releases? They already announced they're adding a new region to the game in the next few months, and it looks great. but maybe with this newfound success, Xbox/Bethesda will be eager to make Fallout 76 the absolute best version of the game it can be. Thanks for reading. Thank you for writing in, Austin. This is interesting. We're in a very interesting situation here. Now, the possibility of 76 growing was always there, but I did not expect a resurgence quite like this. I don't know if you could have predicted it, but I think it shows to me how many people skipped this game at launch.
Yes.
I played it at launch for like 100 hours and have gone back for every single major update. What this shows to me is many people have stayed away from this game for 6 years, which is believable, by the way. But I guess because I'm in this little Bethesda community, I assume most people, at least with Game Pass, with PS Plus, giving it a nod or a try, they hadn't. So I think the resurgence is happening because so many people go, wow, they really did add a ton here. You know, we saw a little bit of that with Wastelanders. Like, it got mostly positive on Steam. They added the NPCs, played more like a traditional Fallout co-op game. But now you see 1 million players in a single day. That's bigger than this game has ever been at. And most of that seems to be on console, by the way, when you look at the Steam numbers. Pardon me, I'm choking on something. So, Cog, what do you make of this resurgence here for 76?
Yeah, man, I am guilty as charged, for that, because the reception to 76, we have to put ourselves in a time capsule, was so bad that not only did it do damage because people were disappointed at the performance of the game, how it looked and the promises, people tell me all the time that I've been playing, like, God, that didn't exist. There were no NPCs, Cog, I'm like, what? Like, so it was such a stain on Bethesda's name at the time. And remember, we have on record, Todd Howard, he went bent the knee to the dominance, Phil Spencer. Like, yo, this thing got me bummed out. You know what I mean? Like, and they kind of worked together. That's when the rehabilitation started. And then prior to this, we have to understand, Bethesda was low-key bulletproof prior to 76's launch. Listen, bro, I remember the culture. There's one showcase every E3 that I made sure I tried my damnedest to get into. It was the Bethesda one because it was a different level than any other showcase, including Microsoft, Sony. I don't care who. You felt like the VIP experience because that fan base and the way they care about their franchises is unlike anything I've ever seen. I still to this day had some of the greatest experiences, but back on to 76, I was one of those guys because what happened was, it reminds me of those, like, I'm trying to think, what was the biggest Xbox staff? Remember when they was like, this is how you trade your games? And when PlayStation, everybody's like, oh, Xbox, I'm out of here. I can't. Oh, camera, spy camera. Oh, $500. It was one of them, you know what I mean? Lowest moments in gaming. Like, it was that bad. Yeah. So to see that and the ridicule, and then I saw the footage, and it was looking like a slideshow. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, I'm not even doing it myself. I was like, I don't want to go to the funeral. I don't want to. I'm good. I'm good. I saw the body. I'm fine. I stood away. So to see this type of resurgence is almost as if it's brand new because many people didn't try it like me. Yeah. And obviously we'll talk about more about 76 later, it seems. And it's kudos to them. Rehabilitation stories always we never want to launch the way we launch. But I do want to give credit to the stick-to-itiveness. I want to do credit to every day trying to listen to the community and put factors and features in to get this thing. And one thing I did say is that the engine, the minute I booted it up, the engine is what surprised me. I'm like, oh, this is super smooth. I didn't expect that. So yeah, people are trying 76 for the first time. And we'll talk about, actually I'll mention it here. One thing that we mentioned last week or last time on Duke was about, like, we thought it was a mistake for the Fallout 4 patch, which we know is coming out as of recording on the 25th, right? But last week we were like, yo, missed opportunity, right? We should have had the Fallout 4 update ready. So I was actually questioned by this. So we have little birdies that listen. And I was questioned.
Not to interrupt you.
No, please.
No one ever asked me. I got to say that they either, I don't know why no one ever asked me.
You're loved, though. You're loved.
I don't know about that. Just not, I don't say it, by the way, out of jealousy. Just like, if anyone's listening, You got my email. You can ask
Maddie's
me.
like, bro, you know the number.
I'd love to give you feedback.
Hit the
I'd love to
DMs,
know
bro.
I got the direct line for once.
Facts.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Facts. Good point. You're
I
the
would
Fallout dude. It is surprising.
I would love to do my part.
Yeah,
Please
because
continue.
your feedback is to me. It's
not
vital.
to take away from yours, but just
absolutely.
more so. I would love to be a part of the fun here.
You heard it here, birdies. Do what y'all got to do. So, it was one of those things like, yo, what? Why? It wasn't like trying to co-opt me or AstroTurf. It was kind of like, why do you feel that strongly? And I said, look, you've had this release, right, that you've known that is coming to the Fallout TV series. Unless you could tell me there was some technical issue that you couldn't get that thing ready at the time, because I said everybody's going to want to go play it at launch. So then I said, I will say this though, where it ended up, and I got the birdies to laugh because I was like, where it ended up working in your favor is that people like me who said, okay, damn, if I watch Fallout, I want to play, I want to do, right? Which one am I do? Fallout 4 is not ready? Damn. All right, I could go New Vegas, but it's older, whatever. But then it's like 76, I never tried it. So I think part of the strategy was let them try 76. And it worked because 4 was pushed out. What I was told was it may have been a strategic rollout for that purpose, to get 76 the love it needed based on this. So this is what the birdies confirmed you could mention. So I said, all right, there it is. All right. So I said, mission accomplished. You did what I didn't want it to do, but it ended up working to your advantage with this engagement.
That's really fascinating insight, just because my assumption from the outside, and as someone who's in the community, was I think more people are going to go to these older games. So it was a risk, I think, at least. And to hear that it paid off in such a manner, bravo to them. You know, you mentioned the sticking with it. And that was something that I commended them on in a video that's going out today as we record, but it'll be out by the time everyone's hearing this. Was that for as bad as 76 was, and it had its hiccups here or there, dude, no one has stuck with a broken game like Bethesda did here. And it's impressive. Like, you can say what you will. I know they're an easy target to kick, especially with like Starfield and how it went for some people. But the reality is, man, they could have abandoned that project, greenlit a remaster, called it a day. I give them props for sticking with it. I do give them props. It's not my ideal Fallout experience. It's not perfect. I think it's in a really good state now. When you look at it collectively, I'll talk about that more in the what we're playing section. But they stuck with it, and props to them on that, because that was probably a really difficult decision. And it also had its moments of nearly shutting down. We joked about reading the emails of Phil Spencer saying we might have to shut it down, or bring it to PS Plus. And PS
Plus helped it big time.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're seeing here, this game is like a cat with 9 lives. It's somehow just evaded death so many times, and hopefully, to Austin's question, the payoff is that now we can start to get the additions to the game that I think it should have been doing all along. The reality is people are joining in right now at the perfect time, because they just did America's Playground. This update brings you to Atlantic City. It's a new kind of open world area where you get to do some quests in there. Its exploration's lacking. It doesn't add any new side locations. Like, there's problems, but as people are getting into this, they can get that feedback and start building the things that we truly want, which 76 always and forever should have been the game that lets you have Appalachia with these dynamic events, and then you leave Appalachia for these new open world areas, kind of like expansions. If they can keep doing that like they did here with America's Playground, but like bigger and better, dude, it will soar. Because right now, like what they're doing with the Skyline Valley update, which is the next one coming out that expands the base game map, I literally saw a little bit of it and clicked off a video because I went, that looks so good. I actually don't want to spoil myself, which I have not done for a 76 update. I've always been on the side of the fence of, all right, reel me in. Like, you gotta bring me into this a little bit better. So you know what, man, like, kudos to them for sticking with it. Hopefully this is the beginning of a resurgence. They committed to a 5-year roadmap. There was times that throughout the year, there were no updates. Like the last 2 years, there were stretches where just nothing was happening with the game. So I thought it was on life support at stretches. Like, it is a really strange game in how it got here, but the reality is it is here. It has an extra developer on set in Double 11.
Okay.
So hopefully they can get content out. I don't know if they're going to, I think it would be ill-advised to do what the industry always did, which we just learned with COVID. And that's like, oh, this thing's doing good. Let's just ramp up all the support, put a ton of employees on this, hire a bunch. So when it falls off, which it'll come off this high, as all live service games do, that it's going to lead to a lot of firings, a lot of layoffs. So I think they should be careful with the scaling up. But no doubt, if it's seeing this type of player count, it's time to invest. Like, I think if there's one thing that 76 could do to justify a bigger over delivery on expectations, it's I think they would have to charge for it. And that's the thing that they've never done. They have not charged for any of the updates, but they have a lot of monetization there. And I think now that people are kind of coming around to the idea of, 76 is good now. Maybe this is what they've been waiting for, so they could get away with like, hey, $10, here's this new update or $20, here's this new update, takes you a new area, tons of shit. No one would be more all over that than me. That's what I always wanted from 76. So maybe they do that, but I'm rambling now. What were they flirting with? What were you thinking?
No, it was just one of those situations I was just thinking about. It's funny how a few months can make. I remember watching, a showcase, and we would all roll our eyes. Oh, another Fallout 76 update. And to see how that mindset has shifted because of this single TV show. But to your point, it's, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, one of the directors of 76, and they're just completely overwhelmed. It was a really cool Twitter statement he put out. You could tell like they're just blown away. So I retweeted. It was really cool. But I think the content obviously has to keep going. The question for me, and in order to answer the question, is I do want to see if this level of engagement maintains, how long it does. But to your point, this would definitely provoke more updates, more content. Me personally, I just think, graphical horror, even new engine, but that probably means new game. So they're probably going to stick with this Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
At this time now, you've got to seriously think, because this part was very disappointing to me. You've got to think about cross play. I heard this thing does not have cross play with PC. And that has to get fixed, because now if you are this big, right, and you are now getting this, let's unify these worlds somehow. And you've got Microsoft, you've got a cloud company. I think that would be a killer announcement. Let's get this population up even further and more consistent if you can. If there's a way to do it, implementing crossplay would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think cross progression would also be really good.
Yes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's really put legs on this thing, right? If we're going to do it, and you got this resurgence, the time is now. Strike hot with 70. Because clearly you ain't giving us a Fallout 5 right now. Yeah. So let's at least do this.
Yeah, it's honestly awesome to see the resurgence, because it's opening up a lot of opportunities for them to see how they'll support it. I think some people will realize a lot of 76 support moves pretty slow, in that like you usually have at the end of the year a pretty big update. But the thing that they're doing that's kind of unprecedented is like they just went from America's Playground to this expansion of the map. Like those are two pretty significant changes for 76. Normally they just end the year with those. Like and to your point about like the showcases and the eye rollings, is like one of those was Nuclear Winter. Like they did a battle royale mode, which I played, and it was actually pretty good, but it was not acceptable that the best part of 76 was a battle royale mode. It just wasn't. Like it was just getting away from what the game had to be. The expeditions were broken at launch. So when people saw the pit, they're like, oh my God, is it a Fallout 3 remaster? They fucked around with the wrong thing. Now it's going to be interesting, because I remember when someone did some data mining on 76, and they found, I think it was DuPont Circle from Fallout 3.
Ooh, DuPont, let's go. Yeah. DC, stand up. What's up?
Yeah. And so I'm curious to see what the reception is, if they go like, all right, going back to the Capital Wasteland for an expansion or something like that. There's, again, 76 has a world of potential, but the reason why I think they'll make you pay for that type of stuff is because look at Fallout First as an example. They put the Mojave Ranger outfit behind there. You like New Vegas? You can't buy that separately. They put the Ghouls outfit behind there. You like the Fallout TV show? Come subscribe. Like they're trying to, they know what they're doing.
They giving us a taste right now. If you play right now, you get first, a little limited edition. We'll get into it, but there's a lot of different ways they could go. This is an interesting time for them. But I will say this: Microsoft loves engagement, and they love to promote and help out those. Like you saw with Power World, when Power World had astronomical. Hey, we went over there. Let's see what we could do. They love to see what they could do.
They need to assemble just a strike force for when games are popping off and just deploy them. Like, oh, Power World, go get them. Fallout 76, go get them.
Get that strike. Get the engagement strike force over there. It's on right now. I'm with Maddie. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time for Fallout, but it's exciting because I remember before 76 came out. This is a little inside baseball. I remember this was at E3 2018. It got revealed, right? So I was there with like Camelworks and a couple other Fallout YouTubers. I remember I think Juicehead was there. We were just talking about like content plans and like what we could do after launch. Like the idea for a lot of the Bethesda fandom was like, yo, like we're going to collaborate more. Like we're going to do some crazy videos. Like it's going to be a really fun time for us. This is, by the way, with the initial reveal of the game before we saw like the beta and everything. But to see it now getting to that point again, where it's now we can start to actually imagine.
How's my boy feeling?
More
so happy for
collaborations, more Fallout content. I mean, I love my favorite content to make on Mr. Matty is Fallout. Like that's my bread and butter. I love doing that stuff.
Fallout. Let's go.
Yes. So I just I'm excited to just continue to do that. Like it's really fun. It's a series I'm definitely most passionate about, and it kind of helps that it's happening at a time where like no one wants to give me review codes. So I'm just like, all right, like I could go chill with Fallout for however long I want. You all can come around whenever you want to, but I'll keep trying. But in the meantime, we have Fallout. So I'm excited from like a working angle. I'm excited from a creative angle. I'm excited the other thing is, man, is like this will sound a little fanboy, but I can concede that. But like I do feel that people are generally harder on Bethesda than most companies. And I know internally they share that kind of sentiment, which is why I think they're kind of like quiet and then just do announcements and then go quiet again. Because I just know internally that's how they feel, is that they do get the brunt online where a lot of rationale goes out the window. And I mean things like they make games that are way bigger than the size of their games for their team size is still impressive. Like I'm even talking about Starfield. Yes. Like what they did with a 400 person size team for that game versus what other companies accomplish with 400 people is, I think, fantastic. So it's not to convince you to go like their other stuff, but it's very cool to see them.
I had to. It was the timing.
I love it. It was too funny. I couldn't hold in the laugh. It's good to see them get a win though. Like there was this one video, I mentioned it, I think on last week's show, but Todd was told that IGN was giving it a 9 like, on the red carpet, and you could kind of read his emotions a bit. Like, okay, like I might not get shit on for this one. And I always say, I'm just like, look, there's going to be a time Todd's going to retire, and there's going to be a time that we want his games.
Facts.
We want his creative input. You know, we're at the end of that era. We are like, this man's probably got like how many 3-4 more projects in him if you're talking across the board. And eventually he'll be out of here. And that's going to be a really sad time. And hopefully Bethesda has someone ready to pass the torch like Tango did. But Todd is a once in a lifetime talent. Like we should, not doesn't mean you have to gas up everything he does. Everything he does isn't perfect. But I just think, you know, when I look at what they're doing there, we're lucky to have that kind of content. And so I'm hoping that this is a turnaround where they're like Bethesda needed that reminder as much as I think BioWare did. Like, hey, when you do something good and like people love you, like they're ready to love you. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm happy to see them get a win personally.
Likewise, I love what you just said. That's why I've always been of the mindset, even how ILP was founded. Like we gotta respect our legends. We just do, because you made it. Good point. We're on borrowed time. It's not. You're not going to be here forever. There's not going to be a whole bunch of games left, and I'm with you on that, man. So it's so cool to see people put the respect on the name based on what they create. This is why the acquisition and all this stuff happens. When they have moments like this is what it reminds me when Elder Scrolls drop and, you know, Skyrim. These are these moments. Bethesda has a lot of them. And people, to your point, you know, they're not perfect. I understand that. They make some snafus here and there. I'm not going to say they don't. But when they hit, it's a feeling like no other. And the zeitgeist right now for this show proves it.
Yeah, they definitely... when they're firing on all cylinders, there's few, I should say, who can shake the industry like that.
Facts.
But they have to just keep winning. That's the only thing.
Absolutely.
When they lose, they lose.
Yeah, look, it's rough out there.
76
it's rough out there.
Yeah.
The L's do stain, the black guys be kind of rough sometimes. They W's is ill though.
Yeah, they are.
Some of the wildest W's.
Let's move on from Fallout because we're going to talk about it a lot more later. We have an interesting one here. Video Game Chronicle has an article titled "Game Publishers Won't Support Libraries for Preserving Online Games." They write, as reported by game developer last week, ESA lawyer Steve Englund was asked about a theoretical scenario in which public libraries were permitted to preserve online video games after official support had concluded. In response, Englund said there was currently no combination of limitations ESA members would support to provide remote access. The ESA members include virtually every major video game publisher, including Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, EA, and Take-Two. Currently, video game developers and publishers have no legal obligation to maintain access to online services beyond their official support. It's also not currently legal for fans to resurrect online games that have been abandoned either, although this hasn't stopped several fan efforts for older titles. This has led to dozens of games to become completely unplayable, a number that only grows due to the prevalence of titles requiring an online connection and some cases, servers. Englund said that a physical location housing these games and allowing easy access isn't a solution in his opinion. He called this kind of access to titles insufficient progress. Mike Ayers, an advanced access content system, the post-DVD era piracy protection standard, attorney, took Englund's side, looking for more substance in any adjustments of the rules. Ayers said he would have concerns about verification when it comes to establishing physical locations that would preserve online titles, saying that it's not clear physical premises will actually be effective. In response to this, the Video Game History Foundation director, Phil Salvador, said that public libraries are not best suited to the preservation efforts due to the lack of manpower and scale of the issue. All right, Cog. So we have an interesting situation here looking at game preservation and how we're leaving these games behind. We're trying to find solutions to keep them sustained, at least so you can remember them and go check them out. They're trying to figure out a localized solution. I think you start big and then go small from there. For example, a foundation like a museum that has Battleborn running, right? Like, take a one place you could visit and say, like, hey, you could play Battleborn here, for example. Like, that would be awesome. Just so it's there, it's preserved, right? And from there, you branch it off and you branch it off again. Easier said than done. But point being is, I feel like they're looking in the wrong areas for solutions. And it's increasingly concerning that we see here who's on the board: Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, EA, Take-Two. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
The more we continue to, I guess, pay for these types of games, the less they're going to care. But I find it strange we're in what is considered the most creatively driven industry who wishes to forget what got them there in the first place. It's very perplexing to me. The logic does not compute. It should be a big priority. I'm not saying priority number one, but it should be a priority. Like, it's a business. Go make your money, but it should be a priority. Hey, how do we make sure we don't lose these? There's actually an ongoing thing with movies.
Yes.
When, we talked about it a little bit when Best Buy decided, like, we're not carrying DVDs and people thought it was going to carry over to physical games. But I had a buddy who filled me in, like, dude, the movie world set on fire. And actually Walmart picked up the whole Steelbook side of things, and like their business has been thriving off of that. But there are movies that were fully produced. There was a documentary. Someone will remind me what it is, or it was like an animation movie. There was something that was made that was ready to go live on a streaming service, and like it didn't go out at all. And like, it's a movie that's just made, ready, complete, but it won't go out. Like, there's kind of this scary shortage of supply of content for movies, and a lot of people in the games industry are kind of in the dark on this. I was in the dark on this, and I was informed about this. I was like, dude, they're having the exact crisis preservation situation that we are going to run into. And I just think these publishers need to start considering this, because one day this is going to bite you in the ass. One day you're going to wish you kept these games around. For what reason, I don't know. Whether it's getting the old code back. How many games do we hear about where it's like, oh, we lost the code for that? How the fuck do you do that? How do you figure that out? I don't even get it, man. But point being is, COG, game publishers won't support libraries for preserving online games. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is depressing. And y'all know I'm Team Digital. That's the crazy thing, right? Y'all know Duke Digital. But the reality is, these are moments in pop culture. This is one of the biggest mediums of entertainment is video games. And I get the technical logistics of maintaining servers. I understand that. I understand, that costs money and the publishers don't want to, support all these resources for quote unquote a dead online population that's not playing. I get that. I get the business. But my thing is, and I don't want to get too crazy because I don't like government really regulation on gaming, but some organization should come to the forefront from a video game preservation standpoint and have something the equivalent of our, public library, where this is where you go. Now, again, I'm throwing out rudimentary solutions right now. I'm not saying anything I'm about to say right now is completely practical, but I'm just as a start. Like, for example, Titanfall 1 servers are offline, right? They but people like, hey, this was a moment. This was a critical moment when, the FPS genre changed and we want to document this. And this is what Titanfall was. Why can't you have, an area or like a local area LAN? It's called a LAN, local area network, like how we used to do. So maybe you force publish, okay, you're going to make that defunct. You need to now put a local area network mode like Halo 1 so that at the very least, people can congregate in a room, pull out the old devices, connect them, you know what I'm saying? And through Ethernet cable, have the function so people can understand what that experience was. It's just very, it's just tough to hear it. And to your point, it's depressing. Obviously, when you see the ESA list and you see Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, all on the list, EA, as far as, not, because they have no legal obligation to do it, right? And again, I'm not trying to force legality and try to force government interference, but to me, it is very depressing to hear that there is no solution possible. So basically what we're saying is we are erasing the pyramid walls. We're everything that a past civilization did no longer exists. Somebody mentioned, hey, remember that time when Fortnite was a thing? What's Fortnite? What are the future generations going to say? Like there's some expressions in gaming that are almost like a verb of how popular they're in. Yeah, remember when COD? What the hell is COD? What are you talking about? Codfish? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like we're getting to that point. Like, are we gonna be not able to dig up the pyramids? Like that's crazy to me. So from that stand, this is the digital guy talking. It's unacceptable that there is no form of a preservation plan in place for one of the greatest mediums in entertainment that rivals pretty much movies and everything. We have no solution. Nothing we can do.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
And if we're going to go on this digital online route, you just need to make these games at least somewhat accessible, right? Like there's got to be something there. It's got to be some give and take, I think, again, for the... Like if you shut down a game and it's always online and it goes away, okay, fine. But that shouldn't just be the end of the story. There should be a way, a seeking out of a solution like, hey, we should probably make sure this isn't just lost to time. I get that it's not, again, priority one. I'm not going to pretend it should be, but it should be a priority to keep these games remembered beyond YouTube videos. I know you can search up any game and any Let's Play. I know it's all there, and that would be the fair counterpoint, but an accessibility on playing them is important. We hear these rumors at times of like Xbox trying to get their back compat system going, and like that'd be a great start. Just let me play every game from original Xbox to 360 within reason. Even if it's streaming, let me just access these games.
Right.
Like that would be great. That'd be a great start before we move into fixing always online and like what's a localized solution for that. I think, again, you go big, you get in like one spot. It's kind of like a tourist destination. It's there. Come check these out. It's supported by the publishers themselves. Like this is not a for-profit organization. Like it's just, come witness the history of video games and like all it's been through. I think that could be something kind of special and then build off of that.
Yeah, and you made a fantastic point. And then the thing that also is the catch-22 is that you're legally going after people who are creating either emulation or ways to access this content that you yourself as a publisher is not putting out or making accessible. So that's why people don't, there is a strong argument for the emulation community in this respect. Now, I get it. Publishers don't like losing money when things that are currently existing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the catch-22. So it's like we're in a talk. And what's funny is how you see how hard legally how Nintendo and everybody goes after, these people who even attempt to sniff at making some of this type of content. So we've got to come up with a better solution. I just refuse to accept that there is nothing we can do here. I just refuse.
Yeah. No, there is. It's just there's got to be a will, and that's why I said just make it not for profit. Like they're not going to make money off of you. Just support them. Let them be able to do it.
Absolutely.
See where it goes from there. All right, next up on the list here, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has been announced by Warhorse Studios for 2024. I actually want to shout out something real quick before we get into the game and the new trailer. Is Locke on Retro Rebound did a really good retrospective on Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and Daniel Vavra, the founder of Warhorse Studios and the director of the game, found the video, left a comment, and then actually posted it on his personal Facebook. It's not just like, oh, cool, he noticed us. Locke shared a story about his dad, and obviously we know his father unfortunately passed away a little bit ago. But he shared a story about his dad in the video that really connected with Daniel, and he loved the video, and it was, and Locke loves that game so much.
So good.
Yeah, it's an awesome game. So it was really cool to see that. Like that was awesome because like Locke's made now 3 videos on the channel, and to see not only how well it's doing and people really taking well to it, but that it connected with the creator of that game. That made me so happy. The comment's pinned if anyone wants to go ahead and check it out. But yeah, the audience let us know it was on his personal Facebook, and then Locke found a screenshot of it, and it was really, really cool. So yeah, this is a great team, Warhorse. You and I have both worked with Warhorse in the past. They're a great team.
Love working with them.
They originally, I learned through Locke's video. I didn't know this, but Daniel Vavra came up through Mafia, like focusing on realism. That's where the speedometer came from, the laws came from, like you can't speed or you get chased down by the cops, that sort of thing. The vehicles you see in that world, like everything historically accurate. And so Kingdom Come Deliverance is really built upon those values, and you get a lot of gameplay freedom with that. And now with all the patches, DLC, like it's a fantastic, I loved the game at first, but it's like a fantastic game now. And so now we got a sequel, and it's coming out this year. Did you have a chance to check out the trailer? What'd you think?
Oh yeah, I was part of my early access. I was part of the group. Shout out to Warhorse. I can talk about it freely. I was able to see everything everyone saw and get the the information prior to the actual release. And man, I was so excited. I think that first of all, CryEngine is really looking good on this game. I think it's a complete glow up. I also love the orchestra that they use. Like the music sounds absolutely amazing, and they're really leaning into the tropes of be who you want, the peasant, the bastard, the lover, your play style. I love the fact that your social status will affect you in the game, drunkenness, running around naked or whatever. You could play how you want, and they're really pushing the open world, and just getting out there in the field and saying there's a lot of secrets. From also what I understand, this will conclude Sir Henry's story, and curious to see where they go with that. And one thing I respect about Warhorse is they stick to their guns on the delivery of the story in the way they want to tell it, because they were pressured early, as far as diversity and things of that nature. They say, hey, we're telling a story in this time period, and this is what was going on. We're not trying to be disrespectful. We're just keeping it to where it is. And I understood that, what I'm saying, kind of thing. So look, like you said, I got to watch that Locke video. I did not know Locke was, KCD.
It's a really, I'm not trying to over self promote on it,
That's
but like
homie.
it's really a great video. Like he sent it to me, and I watch all his videos before they go up, and I was like, dude, this is your best one yet. Like it was
send that to me when you get a chance. I would love to please send it to me ASAP, because I would love to do that. Maybe collaborate with Locke, because we have a great relationship with Warhorse. They've always been good to us, and at the end of the day, we just wanted to celebrate something that we thought was quality. And when we first saw Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and they were early Kickstarter, we felt, this game is punching way above its weight. Bro, like this is something special. We were like, Realm, stay tuned to this one. And to see, it's like one of our rookies. It's one of our draft picks. And that's the beauty I love of PAX, is because we saw this thing from the inception. And like I said, the early joke was, before we had that was our first viral video also. You know what I'm saying? And the joke was, Saul would always tease me like, I was the one to make ILP go viral. KCD. So salute to them, man. Salute to Warhorse, man. Deep Silver and them guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But check that out, man. I'm excited. I think, and this year, we get it this year. Yeah.
I'm surprised it was this year, but I guess
me too.
When you look at the release date of Kingdom Come, I guess it makes sense. But then I didn't think about it when we talked about it last week where we said that the trailer was coming, that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 had a lot of DLC support too.
Yes,
so
tons.
Because like I was from the point of view like, oh, this game's got to be really good. Like they've been cooking for a while. Locke's like, I'm worried. Why are you worried?
Oh, he's a little worried.
Because he's like, well, they're getting it out quick. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, the DLC. Oh shit. Right. So there's been a lot of DLC post-patch support, or post-launch support. So we'll see.
Story. Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how it launches, but coming out this year, and I love Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's Locke put it perfectly. I'm shouting out Locke a lot, but he put it perfectly. He said it's Elder Scrolls for masochists.
No, like, facts.
So true.
Even
the UI, it's very Oblivion-like.
Bro, that's what I said. I said when I first touched that game and I previewed it for the first time at a PAX years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to them. Shout out to Toby and those guys.
Yeah.
And Rick Lagnezy and those guys who were at the time. Rick's the man. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, y'all know what y'all did right here. And I made them laugh while I'm interviewing Locke because I tell people what about fan. I said, this is realistic. This is like you said, masochistic, realistic Skyrim. Everything has to be accounted for. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, this is hardcore. Almost like survival, like with the RPG mechanics and this amazing fighting system with these over-the-top story beats and cinematic. Oh, man, I was like, yeah, y'all got something cooking right here. So salute to them, man. I can't wait. Like I said, all I need, just give me a little easy mode on the combat. Just don't make it as extensive. I know people like that, blocking, deflecting, riposting. So mad at the combat. I was terrible. Dudes was bodying me in the forest. I was like, oh, man. Regular dudes.
Pause. So that's a pause moment from Cobb.
Yes, that was definitely a pause moment. I was out of control.
Bodying him in the forest. All right.
You ain't had to repeat it because now they gonna clip it. I'm done. I know what you're doing, Astro Parrot. I already know. But, yes, the combat was so difficult that I wish and I hope there's a little bit of a casual mode. Yeah. There's a little bit of
It gets easier when you get those big weapons and that just let you tear down your enemy's defense. But at that point, then I'm just swinging away. I'm like, you're not going to block anything. Like, I'm just going to take you down. But you got to get there, right? And the getting there is the tough part. So
no doubt.
All right, next up, we have an update for World of Warcraft on consoles. Executive producer Holly Longdale says that discussions are still ongoing about bringing the MMORPG to consoles. So there's still something they're looking at. We don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. I imagine with them, I don't even know if we could say much on it. This is like the fourth time we've just mentioned, like they're looking at it. They have to be doing it, right? Like you don't bring it up this many times if they're not doing it. It's just a matter of when, not if.
That would be huge.
Yeah, bringing it to consoles?
Yeah, you're right. This is multiple times, right? So I guess one would think, wow, you gotta multiply that, right? You can't exclusive. Wow.
You look at Final Fantasy 14 and how console is such a huge part of its success. And I imagine it would take some time, but dude, I think it would be worth every bit of effort to get that game there. And by the way, like a little, not that it's doing bad, but like a little resurgence, like seeing it on Game Pass on your console, going, oh, World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Man, I remember that back in whatever. And
hell yeah.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
The question is, would it be too intricate to cross-play with them? And it may be a console-specific version, but then, I don't know. It's a very, I'd have to speak to Jez on that. He's the one. But I remember listening to Jez about this maybe a year ago, and he kind of gave me more confidence that, with Xbox's improved, keyboard and mouse and controller support and all these other extra things that they plan on doing with their controllers, that they're really in the business of integration with that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it would be something that if they could pull that off, you want to talk about free engagement, you want to talk about resurgence, and let's just say, WoW, continues with their upward trajectory and putting out good content now, that they're very happy at Blizzard all of a sudden. They're just so rejuvenated all of a sudden. It would be that's something that would pay for itself. That would sell itself if they able to pull that off. If you want to say something at the showcase, you announce that you're working on something. That would be the place to talk about it.
I agree. We'll see if they do anything. Sonic Frontiers 2 leaked from Midori once more. Midori, the ironclad Sega source, she seems to have the answers for everything as of late, letting it all fly out. And RK128 has the right in Lord Sonic.
Yes.
Blessed day, Lord Beefy and Mr. Retro plays. While this was obvious, many Sega insiders came out and said a Sonic Frontier sequel is indeed in development. As Lord Sonic of Lognet, I am beyond happy Sega is taking such a strong foundation and building on it. Do you Dukes think it will be a Sonic Adventure 2 level release of more of an iteration, not unlike Generations was, to Sonic Unleashed? Have a putting in that 2 weeks notice feels kind of amazing kind of day. Shout out to RK, bro. He shared some great news on the Retro Revive server, new job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's thriving.
He's
right
the man.
now.
Love RK. More Sonic in the building.
Absolutely. This is, like RK said, unsurprising. Sonic Frontiers did what no one thought it could do, which was sell extremely well in the face of God of War Ragnarok. I remember it like it was yesterday. Everyone was saying, like, no, it's not going to do well. I can't say for certain because I don't remember exactly what I was saying. I want to, in my heart of hearts, say I was believing in Sonic Frontiers and putting that out on this show. I feel like I'm dumb enough to do that, but someone let me know. Someone write in and let me know. But anyway, Sonic Frontiers in the face of Ragnarok found some success, really strong success, the most the series has seen. I agree with the sentiment here. Frontiers 1 is the framework you build upon. Especially with the Final Horizon update, it was very much like they were setting up a Sonic Adventure 1. Like Knuckles was playable, Tails was playable, Sonic was playable, Amy was playable. I was like, I see the vision. Now in Sonic Frontiers 2, you got to bring Shadow in. You got to refine all these play styles, build missions around them. No, don't get him. No, don't get. It's so funny. My friend sent me a video after he heard me rant. He's like, no, check out this video. And it was like someone replacing animated Shadow with Keanu. I was like, dude, this is it's horrible. It's horrible. I can't. I would love to put my foot in my mouth, but I know I'm not going to be wrong. He's going to be like, oh man,
you and Solve, man. I told
can't chase the past. Oh, like it's you're beautiful. You're breathtaking.
Come on, Manny. Come on, not like this, Manny.
Nonetheless,
you got to open your heart to Keanu. You got to open it, man.
No, I love Keanu, but not for Shadow. Not for Shadow.
So shout out to Sav, bro. You and Sav are like brother. Like every time I tell him a take, he'd be like, "What did Maddie say?" Like I'm like. He's like, what does Maddie say? And I'm like, he doesn't really. He feels Keanu's kind of the same in all his roles. He's like, yeah, I completely agree. I'm like, like you always agree with Maddie. Like, he always. I'm like, bro, who are you? You're not even my friend no more. I'm pulling for Keanu, Lord Sonic.
I'm pulling for him too, bro. I'm pulling for him too. I want him to be great. I do. No one wants Shadow to be great more than me. I think I think Sonic's got like a really fun cast, but like, there's no character I actually love in that franchise except Shadow. Shadow is amazing. Fire. Yeah. So yeah, man. Like I love the idea of making a kind of Adventure 2 sequel. I think there's some things in Frontiers 1, like combat. They tried to in the Final Horizon update, like scale up the difficulty, really make it something crunchy, and it was great at certain points, but it was also ridiculous at other times, like the hardest Sonic game ever type ridiculous. So I think they were going for, because a lot of people came at them, they said like in Frontiers, like, no, this is too easy, light work, and they went, all right, bet, and they made something way more difficult, and then people complained the other way. So I hope they just trust themselves and make what they want to make, because Frontiers, it's a little messy, but I think I always say it's the best 7 out of 10 game you can play. It's really good stuff. So for you, Cog, is this going to pull you in? Is this going to bring you into the realm of Lord Sonic? I don't think you played Frontiers, but knowing that there's a sequel, there's a future to this potentially, do you find yourself excited for Sonic Frontiers 2? And would you ever, as your shirt Sega kid, do you think you're gonna give this one a look?
Yeah, it's been gnawing at me because of my Sega-ness. I'm like, come on, man, this is what you used to play. You used to be that kid. Stop trying to be too cool. You know what I'm saying? This is the one playground you are allowed to play at because you were the Sonic kid. You had all the Sonic memorabilia. You had the Genesis games. You were the guy who was outside at the schoolroom at the lunch table battling the Mario Bros. And you were like, yo, I like
the Mario Bros.
Yeah. I mean, it was a hard battle, though. I ain't gonna lie, because I ain't gonna front. I remember the first time as a kid when you're a console warrior as a kid, right? Low cog, I'm like, still Sega's the best. Sure. I was in my bag, and I do remember going over my cousin's house and seeing Mario, and I was like, damn. Okay, well that's kind of fire. I even go from, but you got to fake like you
It's
don't like it.
so funny hearing that, bro. It's so
That's
funny.
what fanboy is. You got to fake that you don't like something because you love your platform, quote unquote, so much. But I'll let all that foolishness go. But at the end of the day, no, I do need to embrace more of the 3D Sonics and let my hate go. Give them the due they need. And I'm not going to front. This Shadow situation, y'all got me re-energized because I like Knuckles, I like Shadow. And I'm like, okay, these would be enough to kind of get me in and to see what's going on, with these stories. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a shot for sure.
Yeah, I recommend to people just like if you're looking for a quick way to get back into Sonic, watch the movies. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 are great.
Yes.
I mean, 2 is really enjoyable. I would say 1 is like a nice recovery story, but 2 really moves with a level of confidence, and I enjoyed it a lot. Like they have some really cool nods in there, and the ending tease, which now we know what it is with all the Shadow casting stuff. It was Shadow. So yeah, it's a really awesome movie. So yeah, like get into those, see what's going on there. A lot of people like 2D Sonic. I'm more partial to 3D Sonic. So like I'm really a big fan of what they're doing with Frontiers, and I'm excited to see how they evolve upon it and maybe make that like dream adventure style game that they've kind of been evading for a while. That was like the golden era. I just for a video on Retro Rebound played Sonic Advance, and I went through a bunch of them, and I was like, you could hear like Brian Drummond, like you could hear all the old voice actors from that era. Some of the story connects to the adventure games, and I'm sitting there going like, man, this was like, there was a reason this period was so celebrated for Sonic, and it's because like there was a vision and a type of game that people really gravitated towards, and they just got away from that. So I think Frontiers is the closest they got back to that, and I'm excited to see what they do with the sequel.
Yeah, now you get the feels of hearing the classic music. See, what they need to do to me is they gotta give me, and maybe they've done it already, you correct me, like those classic Sonic themes. It's certain things that really hit nostalgic feels that I hope that the 3D ones will incorporate for me. So it just, I remember, I'm a music guy, you know what I'm saying? It's certain things that really hit hard. So,
the music is so good in Sonic nowadays. It's very like early 2000s emo rock. Okay. It's really interesting, but yeah, and then they have the classics in there too. You would probably like Sonic Superstars. That game's awesome. Like that was the one that kind of converted me to 2D Sonic, but that's kind of like paying homage to the classics while having some modernized stuff in there, the tracks that you love. Like it's kind of a classic in that way. I really like it. It went head to head with Mario Wonder. I thought it would review better than it actually did, but I thought Sonic Superstars is great.
Yeah. No, those ones are cool. It's just the full-on 3D one, for whatever reason, but mentally it just didn't track because I'm so used to as a kid playing Sonic and he's going around the screen and he's side scrolling. So I need to let go of my 3D bias, you know what I'm saying? And just give them the due that they design. Because I play some of them, but I just like, it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. But I need to do that. So yes.
You should check out the remaster for Generations later this year. That's like my favorite because it's a hybrid. You would love that game because it's 3D, but it's not like adventure where it's kind of like open zones. So it's 3D in these levels, and then there are 2D levels that are built with classic Sonic in mind. And so it's a hybrid, and it's not too long. Like you would like that game for sure. Generations is my favorite modern Sonic.
That's what I got.
It's not like a great story, but it's so fun. It's so fun. You'd love it. All right, what do we got next up here? IGN and ID at Xbox teaming up again for a showcase, this time on April 29th. Dungeons of Hinterberg, 33 Immortals, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage will be shown off among others, it said. Portugal the Mark writes in, hey guys, or should I say okie dokie Dr. Dukes, Xbox has announced an upcoming ID at Xbox showcase on the Monday of April 29th. 33 Immortals and Vampire Survivor updates being the most notable games. ID at Xbox has been very good at showcasing upcoming indie games coming to the platform. At this time, I don't know how long it will be, hopefully shorter than that Twitch and Xbox 4-hour slog with influencers. It's good to see another Xbox showcase this year alongside the developer direct and partner preview, plus that weird 20-minute sit down. So I ask, are you happy with the quantity and quality of these showcases, small and large? Hopefully LSM can make it over to Europe in the coming months and have a not making the playoffs, even though your team was the surprise package of the league kind of day. As a Rangers fan, I'm doing well right now. Well, watch, I just jinxed it, but they're up 2-0 right now as we record, and they look like a different team this year. Remember last year with Duke when the Rangers got bumped? I was fucking furious. I came into the show pissed off. I was like, dude, they suck. But hopefully this year it's a little different. It's looking different. But
pulling for you.
Todd, we got ourselves another showcase here. We are away from those days. If this is one thing I'm so glad Xbox listened to with feedback, is getting away from those Twitch showcases. Those were bad. Not just from an enjoyment viewer perspective, like for the games, like having these influencers who, like, I say this as someone who makes content and gets paid for sponsorship myself. Some of these dudes were clearly getting the bag. Like they just didn't give a fuck. Like they just didn't care. And I was just like, dude, you can't be doing this to indies. Like they need the help. You can't just have them throw out sponsor bags and just be nothing. So I'm glad they got away from that. So we have a showcase here, 33 Immortals, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Vampire Survivor updates, dude. You got filled. Let go, bro. Like, come on now. But nonetheless, we have these little showcases, big showcases. How are you feeling about the output, as Portugal the Mark wrote in? But also, how are you feeling about this showcase coming up?
Pleasantly surprised. Yeah, didn't see this coming. So love my indies, and I love, again, ID at Xbox. Can't give them enough flowers for the way they've been this generation. The series generation, I have to say they are the champions as far as indie and really supporting titles that we didn't know about. 33 Immortals is something I have my eye on. We know about Vampire Survivors. Yeah, it's great. I think the cadence of the showcase has been fine. I just think that the Xbox community just needs games to talk about right now during the period of the partner meeting showcase? What was it called? What was that?
The
business
Xbox
update.
Business update. Yeah, definitely not an exciting title there.
Yeah, I would clearly say the business update did a lot of damage to the morale of the Xbox community. But yeah, this is nice to see, and yeah, I agree with you totally. Like, no disrespect to anybody getting a bag or any content creator that was able to have the opportunity to do that, but I prefer Xbox kind of take control of that, and I'm curious to see the format. I'm curious to see if they do kind of more. I don't expect a developer direct style, but it would be interesting to see if we see much of the developers at all, or is it just going to be like games kind of deal, and then just a splash screen at the end letting Game Pass or not, or release dates or not. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to Chris Charl and the team over there, and hopefully they got some new little ones in the cut that we don't know about that are the next superstars. Because as much as Maddie doesn't like it, you got to give Vampire, it became a phenomenon. It did become a phenomenon, regardless of how certain people feel. It did do its thing, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we'll see what they got going. I want to see what the next. Oh, maybe we get a little replaced, man. What's up? Replace? Where you at?
Yeah, that'd be nice. We have a little showcase playlist here I found, and they had some pretty good stuff at it. They had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the making of Karateka. I think that was that's Atari, I want to say.
Classic joint.
Hellboy, Web of Word. We have here Stumble Guys. We have Everspace 2.
Yes.
Myth Force. Axiom Verge 2. There was some pretty good stuff. So I feel like this could surprise some people. The question is, like, if Hollow Knight's going to show up. That's the game I keep seeing all of my Discord servers just talking about, like, where is it? Is it going to be at this showcase? So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. They seem to have figured out a little something here for ID at Xbox, where they keep the showcases nice and airtight, and the games thrive because of it. Next up on the list, Cog. This one's a surprise. Kenna Bridge of Spirits has been rated for Xbox, originally a PlayStation exclusive, but it seems like it's on the way. And I have this on my PS5. It's one of my rare moments where I bought the game, it's sealed, and I have yet to play it. And I regret it because, like, this game looks like a Maddie game. Like, apparently everyone who describes it always says, like, yeah, very PS2 energy, which I love the sound of. Like,
that's your style.
PS2 platformer, collectathon style game, like very old spirit to it. The animation looked very charming, so I really want to play it, but this is exciting to see it's coming to Xbox, even though I have yet to lay hands on it. Have you played Kenna at all? So are you excited for this one? Do you think, Xbox getting it? Do you think you'll give it a shot?
It's just the timing. It depends on the timing, bro.
True.
It's just too many games, bro. It is just way too many. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful because it did look cool. And yeah, this just indicates to me that, the exclusivity contractual probably was most likely like a year or whatever it was when it came out, or two, and that it's over. So yeah, that's what I look at it. But yeah, it did. I will say the art style looked really cool. It depends on when there's release date. They have to be strategic. There's just so many games. I'm telling you right now, you better not come out there no Hellblade or Indiana Jones or anything that COG is interested in. Big fun. I just gonna be honest with you. So you got to be very strategic with where you drop.
Agreed. We have up next here, Meta is making a limited edition Xbox inspired headset. Zuckerberg is saying that it will come with Xbox controllers and Game Pass packaged in. Dylan has the right in here. Hello, fellas. Meta revealed on Monday that they are working with Microsoft on an Xbox branded limited edition Meta Quest inspired by Xbox. Mark Zuckerberg stated that the new headset would come with Xbox controllers and access to Game Pass. Both are for utilizing Xbox game streaming. I know some people want that official Xbox VR headset, but with PSVR 2 not doing great and Meta killing it, I personally think this is the perfect outcome for the future. What are your guys' thoughts? And as usual, have yourselves an A1 day. Thank you, Dylan, as always, for writing in. All right, Cog, this is your former place of work. Any thoughts on this to start us off at all? I actually don't know if you were aware of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on shout out to the Longhouse podcast. They invited me on yesterday. They wanted me on specifically for this. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is, look, during my time at Meta, one of the two things I'm most proud of. One is being able to separate, I was being on a team that was able to separate the Facebook account from the Horizon account, so that this way gamers like Mr. Matty Plays, you don't have to play with his government name and his fat Facebook account as a gamer. He can actually be, Zuck. Yeah. I told him, I said, look, the last thing gamers, y'all got to give me credit. I'm very proud of myself at this. On no meetings, I was like, the last thing hardcore gamers want is their government name playing video games blasted across the screen in any type of cooperative activity or what have you, right? So that was the first thing, separating that. The second thing that I was super proud was when they, obviously Satya Nadella and Zuck, they collaborated and to bring Game Pass to Meta devices. And this is right around the time, I think at the time, this before the 3 was even in development. I remember, but the Pro was out. Meta Quest 2 Pro was out at the time, which was a bit expensive. But also it worked with base Meta Quest 2 devices. So me being the techie that I am, I'm super excited. We call it dog fooding internally, where I get to really test and beta and break things in an alpha stage and get feedback. And, that's what I do. So I wanted to myself, I was like, what am I going to play first on Game Pass or Quest? What I'm going to do? So the coolest thing is you get the screen. It's almost like your own projector screen in your house. You can blow it up, while you're using the headset. And I'm like, what am I going to play first? So I said, you know what, God, you got to break this thing. Let's go with the most super latency dependent game and really don't go safe. So I went Halo Infinite online multiplayer. And mind you, I'm doing this with a Quest 2 Pro, which is not the 3 at the time. And Maddie, I was impressed. I could not believe it. I'm like, this is actually playable. I thought it would be no way, no how, a horror show. Now, granted, your internet connection may vary, right? But I thought it was again, I can only talk about my experience, my house. Mind you, I got Verizon Fios and I'm using the Xbox controller with it. And I'm just like, man, this is impressive. If they can continue to nail this, this would be great. So now we fast forward to this, which is a dedicated device. I think it's cool. It's to me, it's a win-win for both, because let's be honest, I've always been on the side of Xbox does not need to jump into VR. That's the last of their worries. And VR is still fledgling. Only Meta has shown true investment in the space, right? So now you have Xbox
success at this point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the dedication to first-party studios. You look at Asgard's Wrath 2, and these are killer apps.
Assassin's Creed Nexus was great.
Assassin's Creed Nexus. Yeah. I go hard for Demio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There are experiences that I'm like, I don't even want to play unless it's in VR. That's how good the experiences are. So
they've figured out, I want to have one thing with the Quest 3 is the hands-free, the wires-free experience, man. Like the fact that I can bring that's a system. I didn't know that. Like I was so in the dark for so long when I got it. And I was like, I can just bring this upstairs and like use this in the living room, or I can use this in my office here or whatever. Right. Like it was really cool. Like it was really cool to see just how far it had come.
And that's why I remember internally having meetings on PSVR 2, because I'm still like the console, thing in me. And I'm like, so how you guys, y'all scared? You know what I'm saying? PSVR 2. They were confident. They were like, look, no, they were actually welcoming. They were like, Cog, look, it's good that they at least make an attempt so that it could try to grow the space. You know what I'm saying? But we do, to your point, I love the fact that the Meta Quest was untethered. It was wireless, untethered, and you had the ability to connect through Airlink or whatever, through a cable, to a PC if you wanted more high fidelity experiences on Steam VR and Alex. But back to this point, this works for both of them. Xbox gets to not have to commit Let Meta do the heavy lifting with the hardware. And then, hey, we got Game Pass. Remember, all Game Pass is the platform. They just care where it's at. Yeah. If they see an uptick in Game Pass, subscriptions or any type of activity engagement there, that's going to be beneficial. And then the key, what I'm curious about is this hardware, because the way Zuck talked about it was kind of like, they're doing what Xbox is doing. They're making the Horizon OS available that you could put it on Lenovo, Asus, or whoever you want, different platforms, and Xbox is one of them. So this is a new strategy for both of them to kind of, what I talked about, break the walled gardens. Apple has a closed space, and I don't know if you heard the thing that Zuck said. It was kind of like, he was going at Apple.
Man.
He was like, we're not doing this closed ecosystem. We're doing, this is what, it could work. It could work. And I don't see the commitment from Google. So the lane is there. And the way that last thing they said is that they'll talk about it in the sense that each of these hardware devices will have unique things that are specialized towards that. So Xbox, you have the controllers. It's going to be more gaming centric. I think they're doing one for a fitness one. So we'll see. I think it's cool. I think Xbox will monitor the data.
Yeah.
And it is interesting to me, if it goes well, do we get a Microsoft Flight Simulator that has a VR specific mode?
I think you and I are on the same wavelength. That I think some people are reading it like, oh, this is the Asus ROG Ally clinic on display here. We're hearing rumors that Xbox is going to do handheld because that study happening with Asus, they learned so much and now they're going to go make their own. And I get the logic; it totally makes sense. But I think you're on the right track where it's like, this is too risky of a space to invest in. But it's not too risky to bring our own games over to the thriving platform. I mean, look what Xbox is doing right now with their own games over to PlayStation. Yep. So can you bring Microsoft Flight Sim? That's a great example. Can you bring Halo Infinite VR? Like, that would be pretty cool. There's a ton of other examples out there that they could pull from. Sea of Thieves VR, it's all first person. That would be crazy getting motion sickness in Sea of Thieves, but nonetheless, like there are a lot of great options there for Xbox to kind of lean into for a VR app. And I think that could be exciting because VR used to be like, I remember when I first was very into VR. Like I was playing games like the Batman Arkham game in VR.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah,
that game's awesome, by the way.
It's cool.
I love the story for that, but also it's like a short little. Everything felt like a tech demo.
Yeah, they like short.
Yeah, we're at the point now where you're getting like full-fledged experiences. Like Asgard's Wrath 2, I haven't played it, but it's a massive game. Assassin's Creed Nexus, I did play. Like that compromises nothing in the Assassin's Creed experience. Like even the free running and the parkour and the scaling, like I was doing it all. I was like, dude, this is sick. So they're starting to capture that where if you were to bring, say, Microsoft Flight Sim over, you wouldn't have to sacrifice too much to do so, right? Like you could get that core experience in there. So I'm keen to see what they do on that front. I don't think, though, that this is going to lead to them doing their own headset. I think Phil's been pretty clear that they're not interested in that.
Yeah, which I'm totally fine with. I completely agree. I think you nailed it. And the fact that you go where the engagement is, and clearly Meta is the number one in terms of VR engagement users. Oh, you are? Let's put our service over there. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it works.
Amen. All right. Embracer Group is splitting into 3 different companies. They write here, following a careful and thorough review, it is the assessment of the board of directors that the current group structure does not create optimal conditions for future value creation, both for Embracer Group shareholders and other stakeholders. To continue the transformation of Embracer Group in the future for the benefit of all employees, gamers, and shareholders, the board of directors and the executive management have therefore decided to propose a separation of Embracer Group, creating 3 separate publicly listed entities: Asmodee, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle Earth
What's up with these names?
And Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. So after a round of layoffs, after the restructuring and everything, Asmodee will handle the tabletop games and partnerships. Coffee Stain and Friends will be in charge of the A and AA premium and free-to-play games. I'll be fucking damned if someone publishes my game called Coffee Stain and Friends, man. Come on now. While Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends will take charge of the team's powerhouse in AAA game development and publishing for PC and console, with the latter also becoming the stewards for the Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider intellectual properties. Dude, they had to have just thought of these names last fucking minute. Like they had to have. All right, so
Bro.
Cog, we have Cognito, Mr. Matty Plays and Friends Incorporated will now speak on the matter here. What do you think of this, sir?
Look, it is disappointing, as Duke Acquisition. The entity that everyone's like, oh, I don't like consolidation in the industry. I don't like what Microsoft's doing. And that's cool. That's fair to have those concerns. But it's just like, I was always concerned, what does Embracer do? Like, what is the vision? What is the plan? And now you have the CEO coming out, now with this admission that, yeah, maybe we made some mistakes here. And maybe, I take some responsibility here. Obviously, yeah, you got to talk to shareholders now. What's going on? Yeah. What's really happening now? So, let's not even get into these names. These names are horrible. Like Coffee Stain and Friends, bro. These sound like some AI generated. Like, I get it. There was a game Coffee Stain. I get it. But like, all right. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just look at the divestiture and I look at, again, people making themselves sexy for acquisition when things don't work out.
This is a lot more digestible, isn't it? Like if you're Xbox, you want to get Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. It says that you'll get here. They retain the ownership of Dead Island, Killing Floor, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Tomb Raider, and the Lord of the Rings IP. Asmodee Group. It writes here, the existing catalog includes established titles like Ticket to Ride, Seven Wonders, Azul, Catan, Dobble, and Exploding Kittens. Asmodee is also developing licensed tabletop games based on Lord of the Rings, Marvel, Game of Thrones, and Star Wars franchises. They anticipate the spinoff and share listings will... it says Embracer anticipates the spinoff and share listings will take place within 12 months. And then Coffee Stain is described as a diverse gaming entity focusing on the indie, mid-market, and free-to-play games with properties like Deep Rock Galactic, Goat Simulator, Satisfactory, Wreckfest, Teardown, and Valheim. And those listings are projected to become available in 2025. So you read that situation perfectly. I didn't really think about that, but this makes them easier to acquire, doesn't it? Right? Because you can't take on all of Embracer Group. We saw how that went. So you split up these three and made the best man be acquired.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, obviously we talk about Coffee Stain and Friends and they had 200 other IPs, but I look at Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends and I look at, Warhol Studios, which you talked about. They're part of that. Crystal D is part of that. Eidos Montreal, Flying Wild Hog, Evil West people. Remember those? Tripwire, Vertigo, it is interesting. I'm curious to see, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to be Microsoft, but I'm curious to see now that they are in that split, a little bit easier to digest, maybe on an individual level, how people come knocking or not. I'm very curious there. So yeah, we have to pay attention. And just ultimately, I am sad to see like just the way things are, because I don't want my main thing is I don't want these studios to go away. You know what I mean? I don't want things to just drizzle out and that's what I worry about with Embracer. You know what I'm saying? These are high level IPs with a lot of a lot of recognition and notoriety. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is definitely seemed like they did not have a clear vision, and now they're forced to be in this position. But similar to similar to Sega. Another thing that made Sega unattractive was their marriage to the pachinko division and all that. And we saw they made that separation down the road. And that division is split off. So again, if the time ever came, they would be a little bit easier to digest.
Very good points there. We'll see what happens now, but there's the split. And now we get into our final story before we talk about what we're playing here. Jedi Survivor is heading to Xbox Game Pass. By the time you're listening to this, it will be out. Cog, this is a must play. Don't you agree?
Oh, I missed this. How did I miss this in
Thursday,
the notes?
April 25th.
What? That's this. What?
Yeah.
I might have to change my game. Oh, I did not know. Thank you for this. I completely missed this. It's a huge get. Well, actually, it's probably EA Play, right?
Yeah.
EA Play is probably time's up. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Wow.
Yeah.
Salute to Respawn. Salute to the boys over there. Love me some Respawn. But Zampella and my man's over there. But that's big. I can't wait.
I agree. I'm very excited about this because a lot of people may have skipped out on this because of the buggy launch. If you did, number one, the game got patched a lot, but number two, Jedi Survivor is so good. Like if you see, I've been I've been listening to some audiobooks for Star Wars, reading some stuff, reconnecting with Star Wars and my love for it. I just watched Phantom Menace for Retro Rewind, and I was like, damn, some of these movies kind of whack. And by the way, I say this as someone who did like Phantom Menace, but I just think it's a very flawed movie. I explain it all in like a 20-minute video. You can go check it out if you're really that curious. But Jedi Survivor is a very stern reminder of when Star Wars storytelling is done exceedingly well, how incredible it can be. The second half, I think the first half is great, but the second half of Jedi Survivor is fucking nuts. It's so good. It's plot twists, amazing boss fights, amazing set pieces. It is so unapologetically AAA, but it does it in a good, healthy way. Like, they are cooking. And my question was, because after Jedi Fallen Order, I was like, that was amazing. But like, how are you guys going to continue that? How are you going to build? Like, obviously the combat speaks for itself, which is also fantastic in Survivor. But the story, like, where do you go? Oh man, they got an answer. And then I'm after finishing the second one, I'm like, oh, I am very excited with what they have shown here to see what the third game brings story-wise to the table. I'll just say there are some question marks surrounding the franchise, and I'm curious to see how they answer them. So yeah, this game is phenomenal. Do not miss it. This is your early Game Pass pick of the week before COD gets you covered later in the show.
Yes, easily. I'm glad. Yeah, I might have to make it. I had no idea. Thank you for this. I completely missed this. I was under my radar. Wow.
Yeah, it's so good. So with doubt, by the time you're listening to this, go check it out if you have yet to. Absolutely worth the play.
Yeah, the gods of Respawn.
All right. It's time to talk about what games we are playing, sir. Let's go through the stuff you and I that we don't align on here, and then we'll combine for the final game. So go ahead. You're up first.
Yeah, man. No Rest for the Wicked, part of the early access, getting into that. Nice. And you didn't know what. Well, I'm sorry, you had a question?
No, I said nice. Nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I didn't know what to expect because obviously, we saw the art style and obviously I'm thinking, okay, ARPG, that kind of action stuff. And, you start off, and one thing I noticed right off the bat is like just the way the art style of this game is just absolutely stunning. I do have a nitpick. The creative player, Moo Studios. What's up with the Popeye forearms and everybody's got limbs super long, which is weird. But get this, when you actually in game and you look at the cinemas, everybody looks proportional. So it's a very strange thing, but I just thought it was interesting. I was laughing. So now look, the thing is very, melee focused. Initially, sword and shield, I'm terrible at parrying. I was trying to get the parry mechanics down, but I will say, like, this game has a ton of potential. So you have a little bit of Diablo. You have a little, obviously, some Souls influence for sure. You know what I'm saying? Boss encounter was tough, but I will say, like, I actually like the way they use magic. Like, it almost is like this charge up thing, and it's like, here I come. It's almost like an announcement of magic. Magic is coming, and you got to hold it. So there's this defensive vulnerability that it kind of puts you in while you're doing it. But if you're able to unleash it, it's super powerful. I thought the systems were cool. I know there's some little nitpicks right now that they seem to be addressing with the early access. Attic has some issue with, after losing to a boss, kind of this whole resource gathering, and then kind of come back to the occasion. But it looks like they've already started to address stuff like that easier. So I need to play again since this latest patch is up. But I will say, man, story seems great. Oh, the cinematics in the story. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. So they are cooking. Like I said, not perfect. I know that early reviews were a little mixed here and there, and a lot of the PC guys are mad. It was actually suited towards me because there was like a lot of console controller friendly menus, and I was like, oh, this is, you just want me to plug my controller into my PC. This is great. So early reviews are good for me. I think it's a strong foundation. I'm super excited to see where they go as they continue to evolve it. And also the curiosity is when the multiplayer is now implemented, how does that work, kind of thing. So far so good. But yeah, No Rest for the Wicked. And then second one, man, I owe Final Fantasy Rebirth an apology, because every time I set out, like, I gotta get it done, I want to talk about it, it's your game, man. Dragon's Dogma 2 will not let me go.
Yeah, anytime you pick it up, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. And I know I have addiction. It's like, bro, you're going to get only like 4 hours of sleep if you keep this up.
Yep.
go to bed, stop. It's always one more thing, get to this town. Okay, I got to the town, but then I met the girl and she's a sorcerer, and then the father's a sorcerer, but then who do I give the grimoires and the books to? And then it's like all these quests that I get sidetracked. And then another thing that they get me with the OCD is the time related quest. They like, yo, I got to that quest you were talking about, where the kid was like, yo, he's in the woods and we don't know what happened, and it literally have an hourglass on it.
Yeah.
And if you don't get to this kid in these woods and these wolves are tearing him up, it is on. But here's where the game took it to the next level for me, Maddie. This is when they got me. So, normal games, I usually do RPGs. I usually do the fighter with a shield, the warrior kind of class. Sometimes I'll do a mage. But this is the first game I told you I did a rogue. I did that class. I never do that. Good. So good. Scaling on top. One of my favorite things, scaling on top of enemies, doing one of these death strikes to really do damage when you get to the top of the head of an energy. And I love the idea of these bombastic fights where you can climb the enemy. I think that is a dope mechanic. I really love that. And the pawns are great. I had to change my pawn. I'm sorry. Sir Podrick is now my top sorcerer. He's no longer changed my vocations. He's no longer an
swapping them out. Yeah.
What was that again?
You gotta keep swapping them out.
Yeah. I love sorcerer support. It's just big magics, huge AoE kind of stuff. He's levitating. He's just doing all types of fun stuff. So where the game changed for me though, doing roll. So you level up. And then they're like, yo, we notice you do stuff, but you like some magic. Here's this, what's the name of it? It's called the Master. It's a combination of attack and magic. Oh, why am I blanking on the name? It is
the Mystic Spearhand.
That is a most amazing class of the game.
Yeah.
I have found one of my
I'm saving it for last, but what I see looks so good.
Bro, I've never seen a class like this. It is it's a perfect variant for my style because now I have the strength of a spear, and bro, they get martial arts, kung fu. Bro, they got ninja isms with this. Sick. It is beautiful. You doing a twirl looking like Killick from Soul Calibur. You got the joint. I got a joint. I call it Be Gone. If there's a low level dude, I literally could put a spirit little bomb and throw him across the map to get him out of the fight. Be gone, peasant. You are not worthy to combat with the great Cognito. No. This game, then I got a joint where this is really broken in a way, but I love it, where I can put this mystical shield barrier around me. And if my pawns are in proximity, they get the barrier. So when we in our battles, I'm also doing support. I got this other joint with a hold down right bumper, and I send this lightning thing to stun enemies from afar. I could charge it up and get this glow on my hand. It is the perfect combination of fighting in conjunction with magic. I cannot stop Mystic Spear. I was like, I got to play this. I got to finish this game. Mystic Spearhead is the greatest vocation I've ever seen, arguably in gaming. That's how good this vocation is. I love this thing. And the look, you got the hoodie with the joint. Very ninja, very, very Cognito. Very Cognito. Yeah, I'm loving it. So
I'm saving it for last because I know, I want to max out all the vocations, but I know once I go to Mystic Spearhand, just from what I saw in the trailers, I said, that's totally my style. I'm going to...
Shout out to our man who rock with you. What's his name? Cowboy? What's his name?
Fighting Cowboy, yeah.
He had a video up about it once I got it, and I was seeing things he's doing and other things you unlock later. That's super crazy. And then the only negative to it, in defense, since it's so powerful, it's very stamina draining.
Yeah.
But there's an ability that I can drain the stamina from the enemies to keep my uptime. Yes. Okay. So they've got floor. I got things where I can levitate rocks and any loose things next to me. I can pick up little enemies and throw them at it. Bro, it is sick. It is the most dominant display of strength and magic I've ever seen. So yeah, salute to that. The thing with me is I'm doing almost every quest. This is crazy. Like every side quest I'm doing. So it's taking me so long. So when I finally got to Patal and I'm doing all the quests there, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, Oh, bro.
Dude, they'll mount up. Like when I got to Batal and I'm just jogging, someone will weigh me down. I'm like, okay, that's another quest. And I'm just jogging to my objective. So like, hey, Arisen. Yeah, and pulls you down again. And then you got to get another quest. Like, yeah, they hit you with content in a really unique way because you don't just see a bunch of icons when you enter the town.
And then the beautiful thing is when I bring in my sub out my third and fourth pawns, the knowledge that they have, yo, master, I know where to go. We got to find, and they'll talk specifically about the quest. We got to deliver the knight to here. I know, like, it's just so cool with that part. But I will say, when they got to Batal, it got real. Bro, them zombies, yo. When they jump you at night and they keep reviving themselves. I had a situation where I fought 4 zombies. Then a Minotaur and a thing came out. Then a Griffin came out at the same time.
Yeah, this game will exhaust you, bro. It's
bro,
so
I'm like, I'm trying to make it home. I'm far away from camp. I've used all my recovery stuff. They killed one of my pawns. I left them. One pawn. I was like, bro, you on your own. Because there was a situation. I just tell you this funny last story. There's a situation we get to Batal, and there was like this conveyor pulley system thing. So I decided to go travel with it. I leave all my pawns on the ground, just thinking there was nothing going to go down. Why 2 of the most gargantuan rock creatures? They're like, they look like the Thing. Remember, from Marvel? Yeah. Picture the Thing that's 7 foot tall.
Oh, are you talking about like the golems where, dude, those things are my worst nightmare. They have the most specific weak spots. I'll always wipe them out, and then they'll have one on the bottom of their foot or the base of their hand, particularly the one on the bottom of their foot. I got to wait for him to take a knee, and I'm swinging away. Someone's got to write in and let me know. I'm like, am I dumb on this thing? Like, how do I take his ass out? Like, what am I missing on this? Because right when he shows that weakness, he's an easy kill. And I'm like, is that the point? Because I wipe him out otherwise. But is you having the same problem with him?
Bro, I never faced golems before. They put me up against 2 golems. I left my pawns to fight golems that I didn't even know. Then I'm fighting these, the battalion type warriors who are very skilled themselves. And and then when it turns to night, I'm fighting demon sorcerer, like undead versions. And he keep resurrect. So I'm literally in the most terrible situation going where I'm having to deal with all these creatures. But bro, it took a while to figure that out. And I lost a couple of pawns that way. So look, I'm loving this game. I just can't stop. It is. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy, for everybody's like, yo, what's up with you? I know. It's just this Dragon's Dogma still has me as the main game that I'm still can't let go. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the other stuff that we're sharing. It seems that we are sharing another game. Yeah, okay. I want you to talk about it since I'm playing Fallout 76 for the first time. But I see you in these streets. I think Dustin put you in 4K. He was like, yeah, I see Maddie playing Fallout 76. I said, oh really?
Yeah, Brad did too. Yeah, a lot of people messaged me, seeing me on 76 like all day. We're like, what's going on, Matt?
Are you okay?
Yeah. A lot of people were doing wellness checks on me, just making sure I'm good. Yeah, so I've been playing some 76 because when I see this resurgence, it's like a check yourself in the mirror moment. Like, all right, like I bitch about this game a lot because I've been there through every update. Let's start from scratch. Like, what is, because I'm like dragging these save files. Like my PS4 save is my highest level. Like it's not much compared to there's some people in Fallout 76 that are in the thousands. That'll never be me.
Yo, that's great. I seen it. Yeah.
That'll never be me. I'm close to like 100 on my PS4 file, but this is where cross save would be really nice because I would love to bring that file over. So I started a new character for a 2020 review. I played him just for kind of all the new updates, so not a high level. I was like, all right, well, let me fire up a new character and just kind of see what's going on here. So I take the Logitech, you can see here plugged in. I was charging it because I've been using it a lot lately. I'm like, let's play 76 like this. Like, let's get it streaming. Rangers playoffs were on. I was like, all right. Like, this is a good time where if I really start to lose myself here and I'm not enjoying it, I got peak fiction, peak nonfiction on my screen here in the Rangers to carry me away. So I start playing it, and I'm surprised by the new player experience in that they have either the level 20 loadouts or starting from scratch. What did you do?
I went level 20, and then they have a template for each one.
Yeah.
And I think I end up going VATS.
Yeah, so that was a luck,
VAT one.
I want to say. That was a luck-based one.
Luck build, yeah.
And that was interesting to me because I knew they did it, but I never experienced it like, okay, I'm starting fresh. What's that like? And it's weird because part of the start of a new Bethesda game is like you start off with like a dagger or a pipe pistol. I did it with the Commando, so I'm walking out the vault with a tactical automatic combat rifle and a shotgun. Like I had everything good to go. I had 30 stim packs. Like they just give you everything. But I realized I'm like, dude, I was there when this game was horribly balanced. Like resource management was terrible. I've played survival horror games that give you more stuff to use. Like it was every session was just defined by like going to farm material so you could get more ammo to like maybe go to a location or do a quest or an event. And that was really it, at least in my experience. They've come a long way from there. And part of that is with this new player experience, just starting off without having to like grind to get these weapons, to get this ammo, to get these healing supplies. They've fixed it to where even without like the Scrounger perk card, you can get a ton of ammo back when you use it on enemies. Like any weapon you're using, they did something with the programming where any weapon you're using, the enemy's dropping ammo for it. So you're always recycling what you've shot out for the most part, which is really great. Wastelanders has always been fantastic. Steel Dawn and Steel Ring combined for a pretty good quest line. Main story for 76 has always been underrated, in my opinion. Just I think it was hard to experience when I played it because it was completely broken at that time. But the game's come a long way, is what I recognized. I went, you know what? There are certain complaints I have. It's not over-delivered. I have expectations. Now you have a big player base, and people are really having a resurgence and like ready to support this thing. I'm hoping that you can. I'm going to renew my confidence. Like, it's time to kind of deliver now. Like, let's see what you can do. This new map update looks encouraging, but part of it's out of desperation. I'm not going to lie. Like, I do want to enjoy a Fallout thing consistently. Like, I love Fallout.
Worked.
Right? Did work. I don't know if I'm going to like stick with it constantly. Like, this was kind of for a test for a video. I'll probably go back to my old save file, but Fallout 76 in its current state is pretty good. And it's taken a while to get there. I've said before it's in a good state.
See, to hear you talk about it so positive.
Yeah, it warms your little heart. Yeah.
So we get the Mr. Batty Plays video that you was working on. That's for 76. Were you doing this for science?
Yeah, it's already out. It's my 2024 review. Yeah, so it's covering like the base game, all of the expansions, kind of this like all-encompassing, because I haven't done that since 2021. When I did in 2021, I shit on the game. I was like, this game still sucks. And so I waited 3 years. I covered all of the updates in between, and I was like, now's a good time. Like, people are looking at this game. Now's a good time to just gather everything I've learned, try a new build out and see how it's going. And it's still a little buggy. Like, there are still moments, but they're not as bad as they used to be. The Scorched AI is still abysmal. I don't know what the hell happened there. I don't know why they can't fix that, but the Scorched just do not react properly in combat. There's still some problems, but it's in a much better state now. And I would not believe the YouTubers that kind of peddle the same bullshit constantly on like, it's the same game as 2018. Even I haven't pretended that. Okay. But there's a lot of people who clearly haven't played the game in a long while, and it shows. And I would just say, go play for yourself and see how you like it. Because if you think Fallout 4 co-op sounds good, finally, 6 years later, that's what you're getting. And so now 76 may finally start to reach its potential. But I've been enjoying my time with it. It's got a really good soundtrack. The ambient soundtrack is also fantastic. I want to throw that out there. The world has always been pretty good. So now that it's filled with Wastelanders, it feels a little hollow. That's like my main complaint right now is a lot of the Wastelanders were added and attached to side content, or I'm sorry, quest content. And so what this leads to is like, you'll go to like, do any BGS game. Like, I'm going to wander off the beaten path, and you either find like a little settlement with just all NPCs called settlers. Like, no one. Yeah. That sucks. And then that's because it's tied to like a part of the Wastelanders quest line. You'll go there and there'll be a purpose for that place, but it's not now. So a sense of discovery is kind of gone from the game in a way. But when it comes to like the base game content, the wandering and the exploration's there, but most of that content you find is now attached to quest too. So the quest, much like Starfield, the questing guides the content. The only difference is in 76, you can wander. You're just going to find places, kill enemies, and go, well, nothing was really here. Huh. Okay. And then you'll come back to that area later in the game. There are some side areas. There's one quest line with it's like a League of Assassins, I think, side quest line. That one was always really good. I'll just say that. That one was always really good. 76 has some really good moments. And
Yeah.
I'm happy that now I can talk about those and not feel like an idiot, because there are some good moments throughout. I think people are going to like how the Enclave is used in the main story, that sort of stuff. It's got some moments. So
Yeah,
I've been enjoying it. I have been enjoying it more than I have in a while. They fixed things like loot drops as well. They used to randomize all that shit. So like when you go to events now, like there's an event tied to Nuka-Cola World on Tour. And that's no longer like an issue where, oh man, I want to get I think it's called the Love Tapper or something like that. It's like a submachine gun, and it's kind of like an old style submachine gun. It's a really cool weapon, and like I got that on my first event, like first try.
Nice.
So they give you these kind of guaranteed drops. So they've removed farming from the game. It's the kind of PvE experience it was supposed to be. So we'll see where they go from here. I will definitely be tapping in after. I have a bunch of games that I'm not talking about this week, but I have a bunch of games to beat. And then 76, I can kind of have it pick up a little bit. But man, are they picking the wrong time to ramp up this fucking game? Because I wanted to finally start Final Fantasy 14 in the next couple of months. And now it's like, now Fallout's going to get its act together and pull me away. Now I'm going to have the live service game I was always looking for. Here it is, so it's pretty funny. But you've been playing it as well. What have you thought of 76?
Yeah, two different experiences. Obviously, when I first booted up, I wanted to play by myself as a single player experience, just to see what it was, right? I talked about that last time when I had it as a pick, and I thought, I said this was solid. Obviously, it's not the in-depth nature of a standalone Fallout game, but I was very impressed to see, okay, we have questing, we have NPCs, and the cool thing that I really liked was the special system with the cards. I really felt the cards and being able to customize how I wanted was really cool, and combine cards if I really wanted to make a more powerful version of a perk that I really like. Also like the fact that it encouraged single player play if I wanted to. There was a card that says, hey, if you're the Wanderer guy, you get like 30% more damage or whatever, or resistance or something to that effect if you're playing solo and not in a group. So that was my first session. I'm like, okay, this is solid. Very cool. I have to say the community is one of the best communities I've ever played a game with.
Yeah.
I came outside the vault. There were guys waiting for me. They put stuff in the stash. They hooked me up, all type of weapon stuff. People were giving me crafting materials. That's why I said it's criminal right now that crossplay is not there, because this is an opportunity right now. People that play this game are so willing to help newbies because they see it so many of us running around and don't know what the hell we do it. Now, I play one. Shout out to my man Anchorman V, who we've had on Define and Duke before to talk about Fallout. He's next to you. He's my Fallout, connoisseur. That's the guy I go to. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need the college course, bro. Like, really hook me up. Tell me what's going on. I don't understand certain things, to an extent, and he really helped me out. I finally got my first power armor. I was doing all this stuff. It was cool. For me right now, my issue with the game is that from a questing standpoint, I just wish, obviously there's expeditions and stuff like that, but it felt like when I looked at my Pit Boy and the quest I had, those are really for me, and then my friends are along for the ride to help me out to continue that. So it's at one level, I love the fact that it doesn't matter any level my friends are, that it scales. Yeah. I love that part, but it's just like, I am a Destiny guy and I'm used to being able to do, missions together that not that no one's not going to benefit, but it's like, it's the tried and true problem of how do you balance people who are far ahead with their questing versus other people who are not. So I get it. And maybe, as I continue to play, I'll learn more. But yeah, my experience was really good. I really enjoyed it. Nice. I had a great time. Is it perfect? No, of course, I had a little technical issue here and there, but the overall smoothness of the engine, obviously, I'm a VATS guy. You're not going to get traditional VATS the way, Fallout is, but they have their real-time version where I press the front bumper and then right analog, and I can pick the body parts and give you the percentages. So it's their way to compensate. Now, shout out to Locke, who we did, show with the spoiler cast on at Sacred Symbols Plus. He made a good point. He was hoping that if you play solo, they should let you do traditional VATS. I don't know from a technical standpoint how that would work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I will say this.
Private worlds. It's tied to the subscription service.
That's tied to the subscription service.
But and they promised mods 4 years ago, by the way, or 5 years ago, by the way. So That's one thing people have just forgot about. Like 76 getting mod support was a thing, was promised very long ago. And so I don't know what happened there, but this would be a great time to deploy that private worlds and just let people play around having VATs like in the traditional sense. I mean, 76 would be unleashed if people had mod support for that. I think Bethesda knows that, but I wonder if they've given it the time and the attention to focus on it.
Yeah.
Because like, especially now, dude, if you got mods in that game, holy shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. And the last thing I'll say, I will agree with Locke in this as well. I do feel they have the best map of any Fallout game. That map is amazing, man. Like, it's
interesting.
I really like that map just from the design.
It's very good. Yeah,
it's really good. It's one of the best. If you don't want to say it's up there. You may not. I'm not going to say it's a top tier Fallout game compared to anything else. I'm not going there.
Yeah, but I just direction wise, like how it looks.
Yes, how it looks.
So good.
The biomes, and I remember fighting the camp, and there's a bunch of super mutants come. I'm like, this is crazy.
I'm gonna grab this Skyline Valley update just so you can lay eyes on what they're doing.
I saw that bro, it got me hyped. I'm like, I want to play in that world. Yeah. That biome looks
with the spiral
with the spiral
okay,
at the
you already
top.
saw. Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, I'm in. So it's like that's what's so funny because like I could tell people were seeing like, oh, you're playing. Yeah. People would hit me up like, oh, we gotta link up together. That Jazz, a couple people play. So there is I want to see how long it lasts. I still have the fever, but it's a thing that I jump in and I pop in and I get a couple quests done. And it doesn't feel like I could live in that world if I wanted to, but it's not dominating the way like a Destiny would dominate me in that way. So it's just like, we'll see. But I am still sticking with it. I am going to try out Fallout 4. The question, the final thing is this. When this Fallout 4 update drops,
how much
as a person
goes?
as a person who's never done Far Harbor, who you have spoken so highly. You and Anchorman are like, bro, that's the game right there. Yeah. So it's going to be brand new to me, and I'm going to be playing at the highest fidelity with the performance update. So Fallout's going to feel like a new game. My fear,
you bro, put Rebirth to bed. It's not going to happen if you get roped into Fallout 4. It's going to be bad for you because Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC it's digestible. It's like a 20-hour kind of experience across the board with everything. But dude, it's 20 incredible hours. Like you will love it. I don't know if you'll put it down when you get to that.
So that I'm drowning in Fallout right now. So that's everything I've been playing.
For me, I got one more. We actually have a write-in. Diogo Pazareo follows up from last week. Yeah, hello, Dukes of the Chronicles. Wanted to make a comment over the last week's segment with Cog. I love you too, Cog. Have fun in Destiny. Thankfully, Katarina already clarified on the things I knew were coming to Destiny fans. This week, though, my question is for Mr. Matty. Now, my heart sank when I saw this. I was like, oh, man, he went for Cog last week. How's he going for me? It's a simple one. How are you feeling about Eiyuden Chronicles? I know you have your video up, but I really wanted to hear from you in here before watching your video. As always, keep your health in check, your positivity high, and have I can't believe PS fans are buying a 6-year-old Xbox game kind of day. Just a good time to enjoy games, Diago. What can you say?
Diago being messy.
Yeah, so Eiyuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, Game Pass, by the way. Just want to throw it out there. It's on Game Pass if you're interested in anything I'm talking about. We have if review impressions on Retro Rebound. I have about 20 hours in this game. I split my attention between two games. It was Sandaland and Eiyuden Chronicle. The way embargoes are working, I don't know if I can talk about Sandland yet, so I'm just going to wait and I'll talk about it extensively next week. But
no doubt.
I do like it. I'll just throw it out there. I think Sandland's great. But Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is a JRPG from the creators of Suikoden, one of which who unfortunately had passed away. And so, by the way, like 3 months shy of the game's release. So really, obviously sad no matter what, but you hate to see it this close to the finish line. And it is a 90s JRPG love letter. If you've played Suikoden, you know what to expect here. If you have not played Suikoden, what that is a game about two characters who are friends pitted against each other in war. You get to run around and recruit 100 different characters into your forces. They all have their own little stories and art attached to them, sprite work attached to them. This game does not compromise on that. It also has a war mode where it's like tactics. Like you see a whole entire battlefield and you're telling your units where to go at one point. And then there is a third mode where you're building your town. And you get all these materials that you get from recruiting people. You can assign them to certain things. and gradually build out and customize your own town. So there's really 3 games in one here. I know that Suikoden does all of these, but Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, just as someone who's not played much Suikoden, I played like a couple hours. Yeah, I know it's a rare JRPG blind spot for me. This is unlike anything I've played. And while I'm not done with it, it has been really good. I have really liked the artistic style of the game. It's a lot more 3D than something you get in like Octopath. Like it's more, if anyone's been following all of these sprite work games that have been coming out, it's a lot like Star Ocean Second Story R. Like it's got your pixel art characters, although I'd say Star Ocean is much prettier, but it's got those pixel art characters and kind of beautiful portraits, but it's a 3D world. And so you get that here with Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. The amount of production value pumped into this game for like a little indie JRPG is impressive. Like the camera's moving for all these attacks. Battles have these things called gimmicks. This is an awesome part of the game. So what'll happen is it's exactly what it sounds like, actually. Like you'll find tomes that are sitting there. And if you hit these tomes, a spell will be summoned out of them, but it's particular to that battle arena. Sometimes in a random encounter, the gimmick will be like, go open that treasure chest over there. But obviously you sacrifice one of your 6 party members in the battle doing something like they can't cast a spell or defend themselves or whatever. So there's gimmicks in some of these fights, and they're really good because they lead to these extra layers of strategy, like taking cover when an enemy's charging to do, instead of just the typical defense, like taking cover, that sort of thing. So some certain fights that they need to heighten have the ability to go off the board and do something a little different. Like you can even operate a crane and drop a boulder on someone's head. Like there's just crazy shit in some of these fights. Like the gimmicks are in the boss fights are the high point. The standard turn-based combat in this game is great. I just think the common enemy encounters are like, they don't need to be gruelingly difficult, but they're so easy that I was just auto fighting by just pressing the attack button for everybody and just letting the game fight, and there was no thought put into it. They have an actual auto feature. I should choose my words carefully. They have an auto feature. I wasn't selecting that. Like I was literally fighting them and just selecting attack each time, and that was it. Like there was no strategy, weakness targeting necessary. Like it was just very much easily running through these enemies. There is like weakness targeting in the game, but it's never balanced so much. Like I think they wanted to bring a lot of newcomers in. And so, yeah, there's no weakness targeting here, meaning that these fights are kind of a snooze, which sucks. But otherwise, I mean, the world, the characters are great. It's a fun story. It's a little bit cliched, but again, it's a love letter to the 90s. Like it's very much celebrating where it came from. And if you don't see it for that and then hate it because of that, you either don't like that style of game or you just have missed the point. I've seen some people calling it old and janky, and I'm like, dude, that is absolutely deliberate. Like this is an old spirited game and you need to respect it and critique it as such. So yeah, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes has been great. I really love the town building mode because that's like, oh, I invested in picking up all these different party members. It's very open. Like you don't just like get forced down this path. You can like, they'll just tell you like, go get some new allies and you'll just venture out into the world, go to these different towns, do mini stories with them, recruit them into your cause, find materials in the open world, if you will, while you're doing it. Go back and invest this into your little castle, your little town, and start building out like a trade house, a card game. You could have them farm their own materials for you, upgrade those stations. Just really, really surprisingly a game that just continued to give more as I gave it more time. So I've been enjoying it a lot. Fully voiced, by the way, which I also didn't expect.
Yeah, that blew me away when Chris, shout out to Lord Chris Jones, C Unit reviewed it.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. We had him had a whole discussion and segment on ILP because he reviewed it, and
nice.
When he told me that, I was like, wait, he's like fully voice. I was like, for 100 Hero, fully. I'm like, yo,
yeah. And they all have interactions and stuff. I was surprised, like they did not compromise on really any corner of the game. So it was. I don't know where the money came from. You know, they had Kickstarter and then they had 505 games, but that Game Pass bag too. Like, but they did not compromise the vision. They delivered something that I think was really great here. So shout out to them. I think Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes was fantastic, and I'm excited to continue playing that.
No doubt. I like to hear that because for you to co-sign means a lot because of obviously, you know, the JRPG, but this was one that I grew up with, this style, and to hear you, and I love what you said about the unique nature of like it's doing things in the turn-based genre that you haven't seen before. Right. And one thing, Attic, he never played this Suikoden. He's like, oh, yo, they got one-on-ones sometimes too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? When you do the one-on-one battle, they got the war battle. Like he's loving it too. So
it's really good. We're skipping the warm-up questions because we are running a little late, and we'll put them at the back end of the show if we can cover them. Let's start off with number one for our news items. Metaphor ReFantazio. It is releasing on October 11th. Our write-ins were absolutely full of inquiries on this game, which was awesome to see here. We have Daniel J with the write-in. Hey, gents. Not really a write-in from me this week, but just to say, holy crap, was that Metaphor showcase amazing. It's a day one for me, for sure. I know Maddie is probably sold on this, but I would love to hear Cog's impressions. While on the topic of ATLUS, I would definitely recommend giving SMT Persona another shot, Maddie. I started recently on my Vita, and I'm really enjoying it. Would love to see a Retro Rebound video on it in the future. Don't worry, we'll try to get to that. Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you, Daniel, for writing in. So, Cog, let's start off with you. Metaphor Showcase is out. It's about 26 minutes long, and the impressions are very positive. What do you make of what we saw in this October release date?
Yeah, man, it really showed well. It really did. I thought it looked fantastic. It just screams of personality, and you can sense like this is the A team. This is the persona. Like when your menus got more energy and flavor and UI than most old games in its entirety, like there's levels to this. They were cooking. I didn't expect it to hit as hard for me. I thought the combat looked cool. One thing I will say, whoever the little dude is I think he got a sword, but he got like a surfboard or something. There's something going.
He's flying around on a sword. Yeah,
I said, there I am. They got me. I said, that dude I would rock with because that's some Silver Surfer type energy right there. And I'm about this. But yeah, it looked cool, and shout out, I got to plug a little bit. Shout out to my boy Flame, who's the biggest, ATLUS, Persona, next to you. Like that's this thing. So when he covers these games, I love to read his articles and get a vibe of how he's feeling. Mm-hmm. And we've got the article up right now on LetsGaming.net, the showcase breakdown, his thoughts. And, it really, the attention to detail and how hard they're going with it really resonated with me. But also, I like things that they've added that Infinite Wealth does, which is like small little mechanics where most RPG games, when you play and you level, remember I told you in Infinite Wealth, you got the strong dudes. Oh, man, be careful. Those dudes got the icons on their head, whatever. Then you got the at-level dudes when you go to traditional fights. But one thing, see how you mentioned in Suikoden where you just felt mindless at certain points. I mean, Ayuden, when you felt mindless at certain points, pressing combat, fighting certain enemies that may be lower than you. What Infinite Wealth does is they let you auto thrash them.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it turns into a cinematic. Kiryu and everybody just beats everybody down because you're so much over-leveled over those characters. There's no need to go through the entire you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And apparently, Metaphor is doing stuff like that. So they've got modern sensibilities, the Persona sensibilities. They seem like they have a great character, list. The story seems intense. I'm liking what I saw. I mean, to me, I defer to you on this. Obviously, these are your guys, and I know I was curious to see how it resonates because to me, you're the hardcore. Like they've got to hit every specific note for you, right? For me, I'm like, oh, looks good. Plays well. Engine looks nice. Looks like they got new takes on turn-based, and the story looks kind of cool. So I'm like, yes, this is it. And then also, and I got to shout it for the mountaintops. I'm not going to get console warrior, but I don't want to hear it from certain base about, we missing out. These are big titles. This is a big ATLUS IP making it on the Xbox platform.
Also on Xbox marketing, might add.
And they got the marketing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? About doom and gloom. Bro, this is a big deal. So like I look at the comments and I seen this, not to get again fanboy, but I saw certain dudes like, wait a minute. Is this coming to PlayStation? Wow. And people are like, no, they got it up on there. You see what marketing does? You see what I'm saying? The casual was confused. You know what I'm saying? That, because people were saying, hey, I would buy a game like this. Oh my God, they're cooking. This is what I'm talking about. So yeah, I thought it showed extremely well. October, we got a release date, I believe, right? October, when is the
October
date?
11th.
Yep. Like it looks like fast and slow level combat. The archetypes I thought was cool, similar to like a Final Fantasy job system that I saw. I saw that, and it was one other topic that shout out to Flame. He did mention this. He was like, he said basically, they said they have DLC costumes because they applied a Q&A update after this reveal.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so they said, okay, so here's the bullet points that they said after the Q&A. So DLC costumes will work in most gameplay scenarios, but not every story segment. There is no canon name for the main protagonist as of right now, which is interesting because the thing is, this game is also breaking the fourth wall. From my understanding, like when you hear the game music of the game while the game's playing, he hears it.
Yeah.
This is a fourth wall game.
They talked about it being like how we imagine fantasy. Like there was, yeah, you're right. There was this fourth wall to it.
Right. He said, third bullet, there's no links to any past works from ATLUS. This means no reference to the Persona or Shin Megami Tensei will be made. And the only negative I had to throw on this game was the final bullet. There will be no romance in this game.
I saw.
Cog likes his romance. But all right,
I saw.
We ain't going to be able to do this on this one. But other than that, very strong showing from a new IP from ATLUS, day and date, making the Xbox platform. Xbox dudes, bros, I don't want to hear it. Yeah. Where y'all at? Are you going to pick up? Are you going to support? I would like to know because y'all always
submitted.
Yeah, y'all quick to tell me about Nifnod Studio Z game Mist that you still don't pick up. And then when it do come, you still don't pick up because we got the data now. We got the data. The data show y'all ain't buying that. So I want to know if y'all going to support the same way I was on y'all with Naraka Blade Point, the same way I'm on y'all with the Goddess game from Capcom. Yep. Where y'all at with Metaphor? I want to see because there's a lot of this. But when the big ones hit, they don't miss the big ones and the new ones. So I'm done with my soapbox and my rant.
I love it.
The game looks cool.
I agree. Yeah, man. This is one of those games where there's certain just creations that I look at and there's like a anger that wells up in me because I'm like, that's so good. What the fuck? Like, you know, that then like ATLUS's art team makes me do that where I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's so fucking nasty. That's so good. How did you do that, man? Like they, these menus have such style and incredible presentation that just calls you in, makes you feel epic by looking at it. It really evokes something in you when I stare at them. And so I'm just excited by that alone. We can already tell from like the initial trailers is like, oh yeah, this is going to be the like literal fantasy Persona. I'm really curious to see, to me, if I had like a big, I put this in quotes, question mark, like, hey, how are they going to do this? The game seems to be like, you have this journey and you can go wherever you want on this map. Now, this is going to evolve how daily life works, right? Like in Persona, your daily life is you go to school, like you have a center point and you go out to school and you go to the palace on certain days, but you're always in one spot. What it seems like they're toying with here is there's different towns and cities, and I imagine they're going to be hubs to their own activities, and there's days until certain things happen. You saw on the top right, like Persona 5, like X amount of days until whatever. Okay, so we have these two systems that kind of clash with each other. Like if I'm going to travel to this one part of the region and it's going to take X amount of days, that's like the time, like the economy in Persona, that's the biggest thing is time. It's like, okay, so that takes away from it. Then you spend your time doing something. They really haven't leaned into how they're doing all of that, but I'm very curious to see how they figured it out because that's a pretty big design challenge to take on in Metaphor. And so I'm really keen to look at how they're handling a kind of evolution of daily life, which, I mean, we really haven't seen that. We've seen them add new activities and new people to hang out with, but they've never really changed how it functions. This is the first time we're seeing it actually evolve. So they mentioned they're going to talk about it later, but I'm really keen to see how they're handling that because that to me as a creator, I'm like, okay, like what are you guys doing here to like up the level? Because it's again, a system that works. You could have just did like, let's do this in a fantasy realm. Like they don't have to go to high school, but let's just put them in a castle and then have that be the hub space. But they're not. I'm very happy. It looks like they're, you know what it is, man? When I saw anime and fantasy, think of Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem is a really good series, but I think it lost its way when I tried to lean into Persona a little too much. Admittedly, I haven't played, I think it's called Encore. I haven't played the newest one with the Three House one. Three Houses I don't like. I just, no, man, like, I'm sorry. It's not a bad game, but it's number one, way too easy. And number two is they try so hard to be Persona. They lost the plot, man. They lost it completely. When I look at Fire Emblem Awakening, which to me is like goated ass Fire Emblem, because like what Fire Emblem does well is like kind of frivolous romance. Like to you romance bros out there, that was their bread and butter. Like they would let you like they would let you ship anyone. They'd have kids. those kids would join your army. They would have the unique stories. Like that shit was sick, man. And they got rid of it to be Persona. I'm like, dude, come on. And especially the balancing of the time management in that game was terrible. You saw what happens when people who aren't experts try to do that, which I'm glad they tried. It's cool that they tried. But like by the end of the game, you're having meals with 80 different teammates. It's just, it's bad. Like it's not great. Like I think that game is seriously flawed. And so seeing Metaphor was relieving that when they went to fantasy, they didn't lose from what we're seeing now, what they do well, turn-based combat focus, social gameplay focus. Like I like that they're not doing romance, not because I'm a romance hater. Romance in games is great, but when it's a love story, when you try to do this, like Persona does it the worst, bro. They do it the worst. You just hang out with these chicks and they're all throwing themselves at you. It's like, it's not realistic at all. It's not believable at all. There's no depth to the relationship. Y'all just want these girls to throw themselves at you. That's all. It's not great. Metaphor, look at them growing up. They're like, I guarantee you, I'll put fucking money on it. Metaphor ReFantazio is going to have a love story. It's going to. And it's going to be better than any relationship ATLUS has conjured up. You're not going to be banging your teacher. You're not going to be dating your classmates and this frivolous shit. You're going to get a real love story from ATLUS this time around. I guarantee it. Just watch. It's going to be better than anything, any shipping that you've done in your head. Just watch. Just watch what happens with ReFantazio. It's going to be great. I'm already putting it in the stars right now. I'm putting it on paper. We're writing it in ink. As Todd Howard would say, we're putting it in ink. So we're going to see how it goes. But yeah, man, I'm loving it. Combat. As someone, this is an interesting one. So I'd say about 90% of the Persona base and the player base looking at this game is like, oh, that's different. You get this hybrid of action and turn-based. For the 10% who's like Trails fans, already playing these games, Trails Through Daybreak has them beat. And I played Kuro, which is Trails Through Daybreak. I played it at the top of this year, as many people remember when we talked about it during the What We're Playing section. That game's amazing, by the way. But Falcom, the developers of Trails, were the first to kind of break the ice on how turn-based games could be a hybrid between action and turn-based. So like in Metaphor, like in Trails, Metaphor has it where you'll swing a weapon at enemies, you'll wipe out the weak ones, and then you'll choose tactical combat for the stronger ones. And dude, I mean, I love this. I love that they're taking ideas from Falcom, because Falcom is a well of incredible ideas to pull from. And I think more companies should pull their ideas and evolve them, because most companies have more money than Falcom anyway. So this is really cool to see here. And they were really shouting out a lot of different creators in their presentation, which I also liked. Like they were shouting out the environmental artist for Nier. They shouted out the composer, of course, Shoji Meguro. I'm interested to see how the soundtrack goes. I trust in Shoji immensely, right? When you listen to the pop music from Persona 3, 4, and 5, it's like, this guy doesn't miss. And then Katsura Hashino said the famous words. He went, I told Shoji not to stick to his traditional pop style. And I went, why did you go and do that? Why did you go and do that, man? Like a pop fantasy mix, he has to have done it, right? But I'm very curious to see what he cooks up in the soundtrack, because I found the battle theme. The battle theme is really, like, I'm gonna send it to you, Kyle.
No, they've already sent the flames already. They already sent me all my ATLUS bros are outside. My Sega kids are out. When I got Lord Sonic and I got Lord Flame on my team, these are the Sega and ATLUS dudes. So yeah.
So what did you think of the battle theme?
It was fire. I liked it.
Yeah, it's different, right?
It's different.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It's not your traditional Persona vocalized stuff, but I like that they've created an identity. Like, it's vocal, but it's more like choir.
Yes, and that's more my thing. I never really said, I don't really like when the Persona do that. I don't. Come on.
Good. Thank you for taking the heat off me with my little fantasy, with my little romance rant. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like I never like living on the edge. I don't. It's too much. I disconnect. I literally mute that in my head when I hear her talking.
Boss fights, or is it just common fights? The boss fights with vocals get you like a little amped?
When you do vocals, you gotta really nail the moment. And I don't know what it is with the Persona joints that, for like certain ones, yes, but for the most part, it don't resonate with me. I could literally mute that right there. I was like, okay, I'm good. So when I heard this, I'm like, oh, this more for me. I like more of the chants. in Gregorian style or whatever. That just subtle, but you don't have to go all the way
Sure.
with it. I guess I think what it is with me with music, sometimes I don't necessarily want a fully vocalized real music, track, so to speak, where they going throughout the whole thing. I think I'm more of the music, the percussion and all that other stuff in the background. But you got to execute it right. It has to feel right. So yeah, I'm more of this style than the other style. I'll just say.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So this is going to be more up your alley than
Mhm.
I'm very excited for this game though, man. Like October 11th. I mean, dude, I know that's a busy season. Like that's like the first kind of big splash we've learned about for the deep parts of the year. I know Xbox is planning to swing hard, I guess, in the second half of the year. Right now, we still only know about Hellblade 2, and I imagine we're going to get that big second half dump here from Xbox. But, what they say, 10 games. So we're going to be busy, but this one is, you cannot compromise on this. They also did a collector's edition, $150, and it came with like a CD, a steel book, a cloth map. Like it came with some really nice stuff. But the reason I haven't pre-ordered yet, so Sideshow decided to make a Revan statue. Did you see that thing?
I did not.
Oh,
it's over for you, KOTOR. It's over.
Oh no!
It's
see,
over.
The thing is you would think I own something like this, but I don't, because for a while KOTOR wasn't getting any looks from any merch. That's why any shirt that ever came out for KOTOR, like I own it to my knowledge. And they did this. Let me grab it for you. Anyway, it was $270. And I was like, all right, I'm going to, commit to this one here. But that means that I might have to hold back on something. And what do you know? They show this off and hold on, where is it, dude? You're gonna hear it. Oh, wait, they have a Bastila one? Oh no. I didn't know this. That hurts. Anyway, nonetheless, dude, I want to get the collector's edition because it looks really good. Here it is. Oh my gosh. I got to get the live reaction on this one here.
Send me this joint. Let me see what you did.
Oh, I put in fucking footnotes, man. Zencaster's killing me. There you go.
There we go. Okay, cool.
But yeah, this is what I picked up, and
with the double sword action.
Yeah, and dude, what's interesting about these? Yeah, it's a foot tall. For those who haven't checked it out, the lightsabers light up. It comes with metal paint applications on like his armor, and it has real cloth for like his outfit.
For the outfit with the
so this shit's mad authentic.
That's sick.
Mm-hmm. So
wow.
I say all that to say,
it's posable?
Yeah.
Oh, you got articulation?
Yeah, this thing is a legit figure. Like you can remove hands and do certain things, like hold one saber and put the hand. Like,
I get it.
Right. Like I saw that and went, I gotta make the choice, right? Like I gotta do this. So I will be picking up Metaphor, of course, but I don't know if I will be getting the collector's edition. I finally got myself a KOTOR statue because I've had like these things behind me, like the limited run stuff. But I don't want to take us off track here too much.
You're good. Yeah, that's basically what I consider what you're doing is you're having a ramen noodle month. You know that you are committing your finances all exclusively to this one thing that came up. And this particular month, you just got a ramen noodle.
Deplete the savings type of move.
Yeah.
Just shaking the piggy bank. Just
exactly.
Come on. Something for me, right?
I got you. I get it with that. If they did anything like that with any one of my favorite characters of all time, it's a go. I totally feel you.
Yeah, Lord help me if they do one for Bastila, because then I could put them together. I digress. So Metaphor ReFantazio, Cog, any additional thoughts on this one?
Oh man, look, it looks fantastic, man. I'm really hyped. I love, to me, you are the litmus test. The hardcore, if they are satisfied, that makes me happy, because you guys know these games in and out. And if they're deviating from their formula, if they lost a passion, are they taking the franchise and they're upping the game and implementing new mechanics. And the thing that really was impressed by me was now we truly get into this life simulator kind of thing, right? Yeah. And how do they handle it? Now it takes time to go to a place and to do things, and it's affecting the gameplay mechanics. So this is really cool stuff. I love when the genre is pushed forward and it's clear ATLUS is doing that. And another reason why I'm so excited for this is because it bodes well for when they're ready to do another mainline Persona game. Yeah. Xbox has the marketing for this. That is a very big deal. So, Solve, your days are numbered. I'm coming up.
Uh-oh.
This is the precursor
Yeah, this
to
is
me
looking.
beating him in the bet for Persona 6 to launch day and date on Xbox whenever they decide to announce it.
Yeah, I'm also very interested in this story because, I mean, Persona 5 Royal, I've said it before, but just for anyone who isn't familiar, like that's the reason I started making games. Like I played that story and it moved me so. I was like, I gotta do something with my life, man. Like this is not okay. I don't know. I had this come to Jesus moment because of that game, though. I was like, I'm working hard, but I'm not working hard enough, clearly, and nothing's done that quite like an ATLUS game. So the idea that they're taking this sort of fantasy game and making it about vying for the throne, anyone can participate. I think there's going to be a lot of treachery involved, and the idea that you're like forging alliances to scale as this potential king. I could see a really good opportunity for like a rival moment here. Yeah, it's just like you look at what they did with Joker and Akechi, and I feel like they can take that story archetype and apply it here and take it a million miles forward. Speaking of archetypes, you mentioned the class structure. That's exciting. Like it seems like they all have these creatures almost like personas or some, not actually personas, but like there's some mythical being attached to this. There's still very little we know about certain pockets of this game. So again, I'm based on what they've already shown, I'm very encouraged. I already was sold, but now it's looking really good. I know the frame rate was a little choppy in the initial trailer, so it looked good here. They have bounties now, so it looks like there's just going to be side content that you can do that maybe is a little bit better than what you got initially in Mementos. And hey, just remember, if you don't like Metaphor ReFantazio and you're not really crazy about it, they'll re-release it in a couple of years with added content, and you'll get the best version imaginable, probably on Game Pass.
You had to do them like that.
Atlas had to do us like that for like 80 different games, so I get to do them for a joke.
Facts, especially when they did that Persona 3 reload. They're like, yeah, DLC for the reboot. What?
Yeah.
They know their worth. Let's just say that.
Last little topic I want to get to on this subject is about Persona 6. So you mentioned at the top of this, this is the A team. So does this mean Persona's getting the B team? And if so, how does this build confidence for you? Because this kind of reminds me of 76 to Starfield energy, whereas like where the A team was at the launch of 76 for the most part.
No, that's
maybe not the best example, but like, do you worry that if the A team isn't fully present for Persona 6, that there may be some significant changes?
That is a fantastic question. I have to admit, I have been thinking about that.
Yeah.
And because what that tells me is development is a passion, field. And what that tells me, they are so excited to do all these new things with Metaphor. All the A team is here. So how does that work with Persona? Now, again, maybe it is entrusted, and maybe there will still be oversight by some of the A team, but it's clear this is where they've been, right? And I don't anticipate them going right into Persona. I mean, I guess we need to get confirmation on Persona 6 who's actually working on it, right? And then once we do that, we have to make that assessment. But yeah, I am concerned that the A team, from a resource standpoint, might not be doing 6. And then if that is the case, who is it entrusted to? Right. So hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe it's just one of those things that they've had these projects all lined up and they're working on multiple. I don't know their studio culture and their structure. Maybe you would be able to answer that better than me as far as how they answered, or the ATLUS fanboys. But yeah, I will say that is something to pay attention to, because it's clear this is where they are. And for all the response, everybody's like, yo, they are cooking. They're even talking about the music guys. They talking everybody, like Shoji and girls cooking. Everyone's cooking. And I see the comments. They're like, they are absolutely killing it with Metaphor. So, just want to make sure Persona 6 gets that level of love, not that they know the value of Persona 6. That's just me talking, but it's curious to see how it's handled.
Yeah, I mean, right now, when you look at Persona 6, Midori, who seems to be like the gospel for everything Sega, said that it's going to be on multiple platforms. So, Cog, you might be ready to collect.
Wait, he confirmed?
Yeah, I'll send you the.
Oh, please send me this. I need knees.
Yeah.
I need sovereign.
This will be a dangerous moment for Sav.
How long ago was this? Let's see, because he gonna try to let me see. He gonna try to get out of
This
the
was
loopholes.
last month.
Oh, wait a minute. Nate
Yeah.
randomly, dropping Persona 6. See, he gonna fight me though. He gonna fight me. He gonna fight because he gonna be like, it's. I do not comment on rumors and speculation. He gonna fight. But I got him. It's only a matter. The vice grip is squeezing. It's getting close. The walls are caving in on my brother.
There's little things we know. Like there's color theme will be green according to Midori. It's gonna be set in a high school, which for some may not be a big deal, but I kind of thought after Persona 5, they would move things up to like a college campus. Apparently development began in 2019 along with 3 Reload and Tactica. The game is also apparently close to done, which would make sense with that sort of timeline. So there's a lot of little bits of information here on Persona 6, but I'm guessing we have to learn about Persona 6. I want to say sometime this year, but do they view it as like a potential takeaway from
from Metaphor? You maybe you want to
describe like this could stand head and shoulders right next to it. You know,
absolutely. So the question is, Metaphor is October, right?
October 11th.
Let me ask you this: it's been so long. I need your help on this. When was Persona 5? Do you remember? Like, did they do a similar situation where it was like, yo, Persona 5 announced during a showcase on a PlayStation stage? Or was it like, hey, ATLUS did their own YouTube video and revealed it on their own? If you can remember, I know it's a long time ago, but like, how was Persona revealed? Because my question is, could they do it at like a Tokyo game show? Right? Or would they just reserve it for themselves? I'm just curious how Persona is handled for the release. Because all I know in recent history is obviously like Persona 3 and the remasters and all that was at that Tokyo game show, I think, if I remember, and then announced to come to Game Pass and all that stuff. So I'm just curious that Tokyo Game Show usually is after September. When is it usually? I'm trying to remember. I feel like it's later in the year. Tokyo Game Show.
Persona 5 was announced in a really weird way that's hard to lean into because I had to double check one thing. It was announced in 2013 as a teaser trailer alongside Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth, Persona 4 Dancing All Night, and the PlayStation 3 port of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. The game was originally announced for late 2014 release. Obviously, it got delayed multiple times.
Right.
3 years, I think it got delayed. But I remember one of the big re-reveals, like the true announcement, and I'm not seeing it here mentioned, but how I recall it is that there was a trailer that dropped that was just the opening, and that wasn't a part of a showcase.
Right.
I think it was, I'm seeing here, ATLUS launched a countdown in May 5th of 2016, shortly after a special live stream was announced titled Take Tokyo Tower, which coincided with the countdown date. And then a trailer revealed the game's final release date. And Persona released the other thing that we had to account for, Persona released in Japan in September of 2016, and then the US had to wait.
Right.
That was the other thing.
So
now we're in a phase where ATLUS is doing, local or global launches, right? It's a little bit tough to gauge, but it seems like they gave it a couple of years lead in. Which famously, though, there was a massive gap between Persona 4 and 5, and that because there were so many Persona 4 spinoffs, so many. So it's in an interesting spot. It's hard to gauge based on that information.
We still may be a year too early, but there is a part. I'm looking at the dates right now. Tokyo Game Show is September 26th through the 29th. Metaphor Fantazio is October. So they're going to be a full hype cycle for Metaphor as it gets closer to release. More information, more trailer. There's part of me that's like, well, maybe you throw just, like you said, a trailer that, hey, they're working on Persona 6.
Yeah.
And you get the hype going. But there's also a mindset that you could say, hey, you know what? Let's not step on Metaphor in any form or fashion. Let's give it the full rollout. And then next year we talk about Persona. It could be one of those situations. So we'll see. I can see it going either way.
I have a place they can announce it. Xbox Showcase in June.
I mean,
they've announced enough shit there where I could see it happening.
You want to shake the roof.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a pretty big announcement for them to get. The question is just back to our original point is like, do you feel you're interrupting Metaphor by doing that? Like Xbox could also just show off a new Metaphor trailer.
That is true, which they've already got the marketing rights and they show Metaphor on their stage before.
But ATLUS announced multiple games, right? They announced
Yes.
Tactica and Reload in the same showcase.
You're
so
absolutely, it could be. All Xbox could say is, hey, the Persona 6 game is being worked on. They show like a little, cinematic, little JPEG.
Yeah.
And then
someone's got to take COG up on his JPEG idea. This man just wants a picture on the stage for 2 different games, Persona 6 and New Vegas 2.
Yep.
That's all he wants.
That or Fallout 5. Yeah, just throw a JPEG. You will break the internet. I'm telling you. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they actually do announce it there. But I think it's a very likely possibility just by nature of how long it's been and the partnership there. And also, dude, I'm sorry, I don't want to be Mr. Galaxy Brain, but the color theme is going to be green. It's going to be green like that. If you're Xbox, I bet that's why. I would not put it past Phil if that's the main reason he started investing in ATLUS. He's like, well, that's green. It's like, yo, that's going to look really good. They're going to buy a lot of copies on Xbox if they think all this green is just for us. Like, Listen, I don't know, man.
Very shrewd operator, that Phil Spencer. I'm telling you, man. Very shrewd. The shelves. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. It's absolutely hilarious that it's green. You have to admit, it's hilarious.
Yeah. People will clip this and think we're psychopaths, but I'm telling you, if you don't think Xbox is going to lean into the green,
yes,
come on now.
It's easy marketing.
All right. Any other thoughts on Metaphor, ReFantazio, ATLUS? Anything else?
Shout out to ATLUS, man. They doing what they do, killing the game.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to our last 2 little bits of news. Next up here, let's talk Starfield. Todd Howard said in an interview with IGN that really good updates for Starfield are on the way, and they're going to be announced soon. So, COG, very brief, very much open to interpretation, but I wanted to document it nonetheless here in the news because you look at number 1, how the game is in desperate need of really good updates, not just performance-wise, where I call me crazy. I thought the game was fine performance-wise when it came out. Looked good, ran fine, never had any issues with it.
PC guys needed
the frame rate. Yeah, sorry. I'm talking from console. I apologize.
Yes.
But I thought it was in a good, stable state where we would get some content with it. So, it's been a long wait. What do you think, sir, they could add right now? Like, what would you hope they add now? Because the problem is it's at the point it's so close to the showcase that I'm wondering, like, hey, man, do we just wait for June now? Is that when we're going to get a big Starfield update? They said they're going to do something every 6 weeks or so. We're getting to that point. I've been holding back on a video just saying like, hey, man, it's been half a year. What's going on, Starfield? I've been holding back on it because I want to see this really good update and then I'll make my judgment call. But I'm wondering for you, like, what do you think would be required here for Bethesda to start? This should be the beginning. It's not going to be a game changer, but it should be the beginning of the ramp up, right? Of like, okay, we're going to start getting meaningful updates into the game. So what do you think would qualify as a really good update for Starfield?
Bro, if I don't see this shattered space, we
gonna
have problems. Yeah. Bro, you better be there. I'm not even going to threaten them. I'm going to be nice. I know it's most likely going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems
that disappointment will be horrible if it's not.
Yes, it will be. But I'm going to stick on my prediction that they have to know, right? And the fact for him, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd Howard made this comment during being asked about really the Fallout. So it kind of came out during the Fallout TV series stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, Starfield. Oh yeah. We've got a ton of stuff all the way. So look, they know what has to be done. I think it's the announcement of Shattered Space. The question will be, when does Shattered Space release? Is it an end of the year drop? Is it a drop where you go, as of right now, summertime little blast off, because we ain't got really nothing to play around that time of E3, and you say, hey, right now Shattered Space is available, or like, August, or right in that summer pocket where there's nothing going on. Because my only fear with this is I want an excuse to go back so bad. The problem is you see this year that they got going on, and then we know Avowed's coming, and we know Indiana Jones is coming. Now we got Metaphor, Fantazio. We got all these games coming. You got to be strategic, and it's been more than the time, because they were talking about 6-week cadence with updates or whatever. It's time to drop, baby. If it's ready, let's go. So I think we will get it. The question just will be, when do we get it? And I'm curious about any other updates outside of the expansion. Do we talk about mod support? Do we talk about the travelings? Like, if you really want to splash this thing, Maddie, you not only have shattered space, but you have those quality of life in conjunction with everything update and really knock it off the roof if you're able to logistically line everything up. That's what I would do, because it's been too long. This game, as much as it's done well for them, I did not like the complete almost radio silence on updates as far as the cadence. I just feel like it's really been lacking. And come on, I know Fallout, I know y'all, I got a lot going on, but I get it.
Yeah.
But you got to feed this beast that you have. It's time now. And in Microsoft, it's up to you that if they can't satiate it, you need to step in and say, hey, what can I do to help to get things across the finish line for you guys? You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, and they ought to start preparing now, because guess what? Elder Scrolls 6's problem is going to be at launch. It's going to be the same thing we're encountering here. So they need to figure out how to delegate the tasks of supporting these games, because we were just talking about 76. Like, oh, it's time to start ramping this up a little bit, right? If you can't ramp up Starfield, then are you going to ramp up 76? Is that how it works? I don't know, because Starfield's about as much of a live product as 76 is in many ways. So it's tough to say, but I'm looking now on the Bethesda net. Last update for Starfield, which was March 19th, featuring some new features for photo mode, digipics, some quest fixes. It's bullshit. Like it's nothing that you're going to like go ahead and freak out about. And so now talking about like really good updates coming soon, if we were to take his word at face value, it's got to deliver more than that, which is a very low bar to cross. For me, I think about that list of things that they said they wanted to add. I'm going to try to dig up the year-end letter for Starfield, but I think a good starting point would be survival mode. I would say introducing a new way to play. It probably won't pull in a ton of people off the rip, but introducing a new way to play and then announcing in June, like, hey, here's Shattered Space. Here's when it's coming. Here's what we're adding. Here's what's to come, like a roadmap leading into Shattered Space. They can create a kind of a role that begins with that, where you have this reason sitting there to start a new playthrough, right? A new build, whatever. Although how Starfield goes, I guess you could do that in one file. But point being, flip the switch, right? Play Starfield differently, interact with its world differently. I think this game is begging for survival mode. I think it was left on the cutting room floor. I really do. Like, I think that was like number one that was cut off because they couldn't balance it, because there are so many things in that game that beg for survival. The resource management from how planets interact, like how they feel, like these things are just left behind. And I think that's going to dramatically help the game out. So I feel like that's square one. Like that would be for me, if I were to pick something that's really good, that we're getting soon, that could get the ball rolling, but it's not a crazy big deal, like different ways to travel. I would say survival mode. Let me get this article though. But what would you, if you had a pick off the top of your head or something you just want to see, what would it be?
You know how much I actually really enjoyed the narrative. That's the thing about Starfield that I will definitely not. I never expected a mainline, Bethesda game in the Elder Scrolls kind of ilk to have a compelling main quest, when generally it's always been about the factions, right? Yeah. And I need to know if they're going to continue that, obviously, where that goes. But also, like we've talked about, for those into the game, and we've done a smaller cast, House Varun, Andrea, that character is such a deep character, and there's so much on the table. Even that one of the quests where you go into one of the quote unquote House Varun embassies, and it's kind of taken over, and it's a whole bunch of craziness going on. There's so much about the lore of Starfield that I love that is unanswered outside of the frontier guys versus the other guys. Like I just love going into that museum, and you go to every exhibit in the game, and there's story beats here. They got to address this stuff here. That's where I was. So the main thing for me is story beats. I'm curious if they are going to do anything else character NPC wise. I agree with you. Survival mode seems like a no-brainer, because every time you play this game, you're picking up all these type of food and alien meal, and it just felt like they were going to incorporate a more hardcore, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to sleep. We know time plays a factor when you land on planets and you speed things up and go on certain days. So all of this comes down to a simulation lifestyle that maybe they got cold feet. And they said, maybe we're doing it a little too complex. Let's dumb it down and maybe we add that later. So I think you're on fire with that. I think there is it may not come this one, but at some point I think they will address what you call it mode. So yeah, I want to get back into shipbuilding. That's something that I didn't think I would leave. Making things easier, having more reasons to do base building, even though I'm not a base building guy, right? So there's things they could do. So I think they've got updates. They could nail it, but I would hope it's sooner than later. That's my only fear, that they do announce it. I'm confident they're going to announce a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
My only concern is that you may have waited too long if it's not ready to go. I would like it ready to go within a month's time, 2 months tops, at that showcase. Because please don't drop around a file. Don't drop around when all the new stuff. People are going to want to play the new stuff, bro. That's just how games are. When you miss the zeitgeist, it gets crazy. So
I do think Starfield could, in a bounce back opportunity, rise above anything Xbox is releasing at the end of the year, which I know outside of Call of Duty.
Of course.
But I do think Starfield could beat out its own competition. I'm looking at this year-end update here. I'll link it to you so you can peruse it as well, because they have things mentioned here like city maps, which are missing. That could be a small, easy one. Maybe not easy, but it could be a small one they add. Ship customization options, ship building options. That's another one. I think it's like this. They have it in order, right? So maybe those come first. After that, they mentioned gameplay options, being able to alter the gameplay for easier, more challenging experience beyond the normal difficulty. So it allows you to customize carry capacity, cargo access distance, ship damage, vendor credits, how you suffer afflictions, new survival mechanics, and more. Mod support. That's another one.
Yes, mod's big. That's
with the launch of creations beginning early next year, Starfield will be getting its own exporter, and you'll have access to our new creation kit, which I don't think we've heard about. So this could also be one. Modding has been an enormous part of our games. So yeah, once we get the official modding tools, I think that's going to surprise a lot of people. And they say, lastly, our team is hard at work on the development of Shattered Space, our first major expansion coming next year. We have new story content, locations, gear, and much more. Can't wait to share with you next year. This was written in 2023, so here we are in 2024. So it sounds like on the wording, if nothing's changed here, mod support, city maps.
Yes.
I think those would be two good qualifiers.
Yeah, especially the city map, and the constellation map is a little jank. Like you move the analog, you move the direction. It's just it needs to be more intuitive.
And the way it times out, if it's about 6 weeks, the way it times out, let's say the showcase is on June 9th, and probably by the time this episode goes live or next week, we're going to get that Starfield update. I think we'll get one more in before the actual showcase. So I think these next two updates for Starfield are critical. Maybe I will end up making that video just talking about like where it lies and what it can become. But I look at it and I think to myself how they need to strike pretty hard with these next two updates. They can't afford to be like, you can pick your thumbs up and stick it in your ass in this photo mode filter. It's like, no, guys. Gameplay. I want to shoot things. I want to explore. I want to fly around. Like I want to do things in your world, not take pictures. Like let's come on now. I know you got it in you somewhere.
They know. I think the vibe I get is they know what we want. They probably just packaging it all in once and consolidate and come when you're ready to come back outside. You come back with this huge thing. So yeah, I agree. Because if they do that, then they're gonna hear it from me.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I'll be the first to freak out if they're just imagine they do a no-show. I don't want to fearmonger, but like imagine they do a no-show and everything. Like, they just do these updates. Summer showcase comes around. Like, hey guys, sorry, we'll talk later. We'll talk at QuakeCon.
All right, let me be fair. Let me ask you a question, a real one. Bethesda got to. So we know right now Bethesda is proving their worth as far as how much they're cooking for Xbox right now in terms of the IPs with Fallout and obviously Starfield, tremendous success initially. So the question is, with the ramp up of Fallout, we are all Fallout out. Everybody, forget Xbox community, gaming is and pop culture, non-gamers, it's Fallout.
Yeah.
So the question, the resources towards Fallout and new Fallout IPs and properties, or continue supporting Starfield all the way through. What say you, Mr. Matty Flays? You got two IPs now, you know?
I mean, I've gone on record from my initial Starfield review saying like Starfield is definitely my least favorite Bethesda IP out of everything they've done.
You have said that.
So you go focus on Fallout. You got my thing for sure. Green light.
So you shatter space and then out to pasture after this? What we doing?
I don't want them to do that, but if I had a choice in the matter, it's like Fallout or Starfield. It's like, yeah, go support the fuck out of Fallout. Are you kidding me? We wouldn't have been in this spot if you did that in the first place.
You heard it here first. Jez agrees with you. He said as much as he loves Starfield, don't get me wrong, he loves it. He just like, he's going to ride or die for some Fallout.
Yeah,
so he was like, I don't want that to stop.
I think everyone's not surprised by that, 100%. But, you know, you're asking me to pick my favorite kid. I think Starfield's awesome. Like, I really do like the game a lot. It does need more work than the other games out the box, though. Yeah. And that's the thing is why I want them to support, because I'm like, yo, like, okay, like in half a year, like, we'll have survival mode. We'll have this shit that'll kind of like make the game a little bit better. And then Shattered Space will hopefully be the Taken King moment where they'll start radically transforming some of the big critiques with the game. But you know, here we are 6 months later, and dude, like, nothing. It's very surprising. So if they're going to ramp up, now's the time.
Now's the time.
All right. Last bit of news, then Game Pass pick of the week. Speaking of Game Pass, joining Game Pass Core. So this is the lowest tier subscription. These are the free guaranteed games you get. And they're adding to them Deep Rock Galactic from, what was that, Coffee Stain and Friends now. That's Deep Rock Galactic's over there. You also have Super Hot, Mind Control, Delete, and Wreckfest all being added in. So a little addition here. If you're kind of riding the fence on Game Pass, these are all pretty good games. I really enjoyed Super Hot. Deep Rock Galactic, I have not played much of, nor have I played Wreckfest, but it's cool to see that they're adding to the core library. So that's good.
Yeah. Again, these are people at the introductory level that would be technically games for gold. You're getting these curated Game Pass games. I thought is really cool. So yeah, absolutely. All
right. Any other thoughts, or shall we move on to Game Pass pick of the week?
Yeah, let's do it, man. So as we're staying on brand.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, look, the fever continues with Fallout. And I initially had a plan, okay, what I'm going to do first, you know, I wanted 4, but we know the update is later. So I jumped to the 76, right? And then I've been doing 76, that's fine. But there's one Fallout game that I do remember having a good time with, but I was just like, I'm very curious. I need to go back to it. It's a free to play, so you can get that a Game Pass as well. But I gotta shout out Fallout Shelter, man. I haven't played it in a long time, and the thing that I really like about it, Maddie, is a person who, you know, I'm an XCOM guy, right? And XCOM is, in my opinion, the king of turn-based. But what XCOM also does that I feel that they don't get enough credit for as the GOAT, as far as I'm concerned, shout out to Jake Solomon, shout out to my man Julius as well, the OGs. But when it comes to the base management, when it comes to not just being out in the world space, but that managing of your resources and building things, building facilities where your troops have to utilize alien containment and all that other stuff, that's what I love. It's like 2 games in one. Now, Fallout Shelter to me is that part of XCOM, and that's the part I like. So you get the new, you know, what you call the residents. They want to come into the vault, and what I like is, okay, now we got to build the water treatment plant. Okay, now we got to get the power going on. Okay, now we got to get the living quarters. Then you got to deal with the random events. Then, but the thing that I like is they use special in a very unique way. So every single vault dweller that you have has their own, you know, peaks and valleys, what they can do. So certain people ain't really as effective in the kitchen when we need to get the food and the resources going. Yo, we got to get the water going in here, or we need more power for the facilities. And what you could do is in real time, move them around, and you see efficiency. Also, you put people together. Too long and babies.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that moment in the trailer was so wild. I forgot all about that when they like wrote off screen, then the girl just shows up pregnant afterwards.
Like, okay, she got the little pregnant, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. What I like too is you could send, you know, your little dwellers or little quests with expeditions. You can outfit them out. Nitpick, you really can't give them weapons. You have to, it's like this. You do certain things and as characters level up, then you have the caps. The caps that allow you to get certain things, but there's also like this, like quests and objectives that when you unlock quests and objectives, they'd be like, okay, make sure you generated 50 amounts of power or whatever. Then they give you like sometimes these little lunchbox things. And this lunchbox thing is almost like a roulette system where you open up the pail and they give you the cards. And then in these cards are weapons, abilities. So that's the only thing I don't like, because I wish I don't have to wait on some randomization of when I can get a gun or an axe pick to give someone so they can go out. Then, as things going on, obviously, if you using too many resources or whatever, you can lose power to certain rooms of the vault, right? And that will affect productivity. Also, cleanliness, random disasters. Raiders can attack the vault and come in and break through and stuff like that. And I just really like it. As you get more people in your vault, you get the you could get med bays, and I just love when I find the perfect. I'm like, oh, you doing your thing in the med bay. Okay, you stay in there. And then sometimes I'll be having too many people in one place, and I'm like, all right, this person is clearly the best person at the job. Let me move them over here and do certain stuff. So you get also a little random. You can outfit your little dwellers. You can put them in rad suits. You got this thing. It's just this cute little distraction game that I end up playing for hours. And again, it was it's funny when we spoke before we went live, I was waiting for at the pharmacy, bust out the Fallout Shelter while I was waiting. It got more stuff done.
Wow, you really got the bug. That's wild.
Bro, I just cannot get away. Because one thing about the show that I felt that they did fantastic was the naive and goofy nature of Vault Dwellers.
Yeah.
I think the show there, and I wanted something to replicate that, because most Fallout games, you leave the vault.
Yeah.
That's it. So Shelter gives me that. That gives me, I am the overseer. You know what I'm saying? I get to say who's doing what. So shout out to Fallout Shelter, man. Like, fantastic game. If you've never played it, very addicting. Only nitpick would say controls on consoles a little weird with the analog and dragging someone into a room. You could tell it's more of a PC game in that respect, but they made some things you can zoom out, you can zoom in. And for my XCOM guys, if you love the top layer base management aspect, this is going to hit that addictive bug for you, and no doubt. And I just want them to continue to put more like TV show stuff. I would buy stuff. You would put little DLC, little cosmetic stuff, and I could be, or just lean into the show with this even more, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah, I love Fallout Shelter. I've actually not played it in some time. I used to play it even on PC though. Like, it was a game it was one of the few mobile games that like transcended my phone onto other screens. And I love how they added like questing and exploration and the unique vault dwellers. Like, did you get any special dwellers? Like,
I got some dude. He got like a wrestler outfit. He mad nice at the water plant for some reason. He's super nice.
It's so funny, like renaming everyone.
Yes.
I remember like naming everyone in my vault. I wonder if I downloaded it on my phone, if I could find my old vault. Did you have that when you fired it up on your phone?
Yes, it had my old data. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a new player. It's been so long. I don't remember what I was doing then. And now I truly understand it. But yeah, man, I love it. And then they got these.
Download this. I'm so curious about it.
The funny thing is when you do these rush events and sometimes disasters happens and dudes be blowing things up, things catch on fire. And then people got to
all the time because I'm always rushing them.
Yes. I'm like, hurry up, we need food now. Like, yeah, it's fun, man. You get to do so much, and it really ramps up. And then apparently as it goes on, there's really deep questing and stuff like that. It has a deep end game. I haven't even got to like the end game yet. So yeah, salute to them.
Where are my vaults at?
Oh, your vault. Name your number vault. I'm vault 201. I had to throw it up for Jers.
Yeah, man, that's so upsetting. All right, well, I'm gonna delete the game now.
Oh, you looking for your joint?
Yeah, I was. I deleted it, but I would have been surprised if they still had it. But
it's all good.
Alas, still great game. Really good pick here.
Yeah. Hold on. They just said something I didn't even realize. More importantly, they did add content. I missed this. Fallout Shelter is definitely still worth playing in 2024. New content being added. They said that add lore. They said Fallout titles with characters returning for Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 4 makes appearances as dwellers who can join the player. And Fallout Shelter, they did. They added Lucy, the Ghoul, and Maximus for the TV series that you can recruit them in Fallout Shelter now as the game goes on. So they did do it. Okay.
Yeah, this game it's intense how much it gets updated compared to any other Fallout game.
And it was one of the highest rated Fallouts at one point.
Made the most money too.
Made the most money. Shout out, they did that.
Yeah. Awesome pick.
Yes.
All right. Got another write in here and we'll wrap this thing up here. This comes from Mr. Scott. If you're nasty Dukes, I finally finished Baldur's Gate 3. I'm caught in a bit of a pickle. I'm a father and don't have too much time, roughly 5 hours of gaming every week. I want to play Hellblade 2 as soon as it comes out. This doesn't leave me much time to squeeze in a new game. Any recommendations to fill out the 4-ish weeks left? Hope you gents have an okie dokie kind of night. Thank you, Mr. Scott, for writing in here. 5 hours a week. That is a tough break, my friend.
That's tough.
Yeah, we're going to have to get rid of one of your kids or something like that. We're going to free up some time.
Yeah, what do we give them, man? 5 hours a week.
Yeah, that's tight. That's a tight schedule. Yeah. We got. Let's see here. We're flirting with 15, 40, 20 hours of gameplay, right?
Yes, 20 hours about.
Okay. Ooh,
Hellblade is actually perfect for him when that comes out.
Yeah, that is the perfect father game.
Yeah, it's like a dad bro for real.
Yeah, let's see. I'm thinking off the top of my head, like what's some. All right, well you're in the Xbox podcast, so we'll open up the Xbox app. Let's comb through the Game Pass ecosystem here.
Yeah, let's look at some stuff.
Let's see here. Eden Chronicle, definitely not. That game is not as long as other JRPGs I'm seeing, but not a good pick for you.
Yeah, that's not a good.
We're not going to throw you to the live service fodder. We're not going to do that to you. Weren't you the one who was interested in Harold Halibut?
Yeah, I have my eye on it. I've been hearing good things.
Yeah, I wonder if that.
We had a write-in for it too.
We did. I must have missed it.
Not this week. Last week, I think it was. Yeah, no, my fault. I'm getting shows confused. ILP had a Patreon write-in for it. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, they did. So people are talking about that. Yeah, shout out to the patrons.
Here's one. I found Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Ooh. I think some of the newer Tomb Raider games are great. I even like, this is from Crystal Dynamics, so if you want a little bit of that perfect dark energy, I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider is actually really great. I know a lot of people thought it was kind of a weak send off for the trilogy, but I personally really dug this game. I thought the story was good. The way they represented Lara Croft's immaturity actually at that point in the story and how she evolves from it. I thought it was really good. So I have an appreciation for the kind of Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. I'm seeing what else we got here. So Evil West. That's an easy one. Evil West is a very good
get in, get out.
Yeah, that is a 360-ass game, nice and compartmentalized. You can kind of play it when you want, bang out a level, feel real good about the hour of gameplay you got in that night. Evil West, though, is I think a perfect pick. I think this is the exact game you're probably looking for. It's super fun, super kinetic, gory. It's got a really unique world. I won't spoil it for you if you don't know anything about it, but Evil West, I think, is the pick you're looking for. This you can definitely get done in 4 weeks. There is extra content there, but it is a game that plays very much like a 360 PS3 title, and you could finish it up in that much time as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, let's go with that then. Oh, Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun. It's a 6-hour game, 6 to 8 hour game.
6 hour. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah,
nice.
That one's really good. So if you finish one out and you're feeling really ambitious, go ahead and hop in that.
Yeah, get that out for the palate.
All right. Oh, no, we do have one more question and then we'll get out of here. Yeah. Jake Brown with a quick write-in. Hey, Dukes. With the success of Fallout, as someone who's beat every game, I'm looking at the Wasteland series. Can you talk about how these are different and what you recommend for newcomers to see the series on Game Pass? I love Wasteland 3. Wasteland 2 is also fantastic, a little more hardcore. Wasteland 3 isn't less hardcore in its gameplay. It's still pretty tough, but it is hardcore in its choices. It's insane. So I would recommend hopping into 3. 3 is co-op. It is phenomenal. There's no game that does choice. I'm you're looking at Baldur's Gate. There's no game that does choice and consequence like Wasteland 3. It is that good in my opinion. It is insane. Everything you do has impact. Everything. That game was built with choice and consequence in mind. There are games that write their stories and then account for choice and consequence afterwards. There are games that focus on gameplay choice. No, Wasteland 3 is mega choice and consequence driven to the highest degree imaginable. It is fantastic. I would really recommend checking that out and working it backwards. Wasteland 2 is a little bit more attached to the classic Fallout style, but 3 has a good flow to the gameplay as well. Your whole enemy squadron takes a turn and then they give control back to you. So you're not waiting too long. So that would be my personal suggestion. I don't know, Cog, you played a little bit of Wasteland in your life. I know you played it with Addict. Yes. What do you think here of Wasteland? Would you recommend starting at 3 as well? Yeah,
definitely 3. 3 is just their pinnacle. And I'm glad you mentioned that because in Exile, we don't give them their flowers, man.
So good.
We do not. The way I go off about Obsidian, I'm just waiting for when their stuff drops so I could talk my talk. Like I really like them a lot. And I love their social media presence. Everything they do is kind of, shout out to Fargo. Them, like they get it in. And again, you got to give respect, but we give God Howard. These are the creators. These are the dudes.
Yeah,
it wasn't
they are the ones who made Fallout. Yep.
These are the dudes. Like, let's be clear. Like, people don't understand. That's why I say I don't get too caught up with the doom and gloom because I look at the talent of Xbox Game Studios and I'm like, when it's time for them boys to drop, it's gonna be serious. When it's time for what's our boys from Double Fine, we forgetting a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And I sit there and to me it's a treasure trove. It's just that games take long. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. Games take a long time. But yes, Wasteland 3, go get that. Absolute turn-based love. The kings of choice and consequence. And one of the rare games that I've ever seen implement a cooperative turn-based experience and make it extremely well done. Like, I was shocked how well that was. It was a little jank in the early on because you can tell that game, Microsoft just helped them kind of get over the finish line, add voice to it. So I don't want to make it seem like it's this super ultra polished AAA production when it's time for what's our joint Clockwork Revolution. Then we're going to see what they do. And that looked already phenomenal. So shout out to NX. I'm going to start giving them some more love, man. They don't get enough respect. They wanted a super dark. I made sure Obsidian got daylight, but I'm going to be on the NXL train as well once they get ready.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to do so when Clockwork starts coming around because we'll get questions like, oh, I like Clockwork. What should I play? And you're going to get sick of hearing Wasteland 3. I'm just going to warn you now.
Yes, get ready.
You're going to get super sick of it. So yeah, if you're into Fallout, I mean, Fallout was basically spun off of Wasteland, so that's one reason to get into it. You'll see a lot of Fallout energy there. It's definitely worth taking a look at. So please give it a look. And if you do so, write in. We'd love to hear about your experience because I love championing that game. I think it just, again, gets way too overlooked. I haven't played its DLC, so it's a game I want to go back and replay. And I know Locke is going to do a video on Retro Rebound for it next month, so I'm excited to see him do something with that.
Dope.
All right. Cog, that's it for the show. Episode 173 in the books. It's time now for our hashtag. I kind of had one in mind. It's nothing creative and funny, but I was just thinking metaphor DD. Metaphor. Right?
Yeah. That was a big one. I was very impressed. I was like, this is, I already know. I said, we go, Maddie go, what? Talk about this.
Yes, indeed.
I already, you warned me. You're like, metaphor coming. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I said it's number one story. We're going to figure out our crazy thumbnail for it. Like, I already decided. I was like, I'm not going to double dip on Fallout. I'll try to control myself. Metaphor. I try to base the titles and the thumbnails off of like what everyone's writing in about. I'm like, what are you interested in? Okay, a lot of writing is about metaphor. All right, let's do that. Cool. So yeah, we're going to rock with that. Metaphor DD. If you want to leave your thoughts on Twitter, I am at GT7Status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can tag us there. Hashtag Metaphor DD. Otherwise, use the comments section down below if you want to get on social media. Hashtag Metaphor DD. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Cog, any closing thoughts from you, sir? Or shall I wrap it up?
Another banger with the Dukes in the realm of the Dukes. Salute to everybody that wrote in. Good times, man. Things are starting to heat up, and I like what I'm seeing game-wise. This year's turning out to be something. It's starting to, we were like, nothing's going to compare to last year. It may not get to that level, but man, it's creeping already. The ramp up is starting, and you're starting to see it. So salute.
Absolutely. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next week for what I imagine will be another busy week of Defining Duke. Until then, have an okie dokie kind of day, and we'll catch you with episode 174. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Maddie's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.